leave that open for a little bit more discussion, and also with the next board coming up, let them discuss it and decide. I mean, there does seem to be some issues with that, and some organizations you have to join, and some dues that are involved, so there's some expense involved to that. And I think that's something we need to look into more, and maybe it might be just easier and more beneficial to have a historic advisory committee instead of a commission.
That would be much more I think that's more the wheelhouse we were looking for. We just didn't know the distinction between an advisory committee and a commission. And because what we really were looking for was advice.
Yeah, I could certainly work on preparing a law that would set up that kind of an advisory committee. We'd have to change what we have on the books, but we could certainly go that approach.
I think that would make us all happier,
Okay.
because I think that's all we really wanted.
Yeah.
We've been working on this a year now. What's the reason for the change?
Bob explained to us what we were getting into. We thought we were getting an advisory committee, and now we're going to have the commission. And we don't want it with the planning board, but we didn't know we'd take it out of the planning board and just make it a committee. I thought it had to be a commission, but Bob was explaining to us the difference today.
It's hard to hear. Somebody's pushing papers around or something.
Oh,
What are these things you have to join, Cheryl?
You have to, Gail Dolman, like, you have to join, SHPO, and there's membership dues there, and I believe there's another one that we joined at one time, and there's membership dues also on that one.
Are you just doing this? Are you just doing this from memory?
Yeah.
Or have you checked on it?
We could talk to Alberta. She'll remember too, and Gail Dolman will remember. But
Gail Dolman retired 10 years ago.
Yes, I know she did.
I still remember though.
But doesn't matter, Ted. I'm just saying, it's up to you.
But I haven't heard the reasons why this changed all of a sudden tonight.
Oh, because we were talking with Bob earlier, so maybe Bob can explain it to you.
We were voting on it tonight, and not everybody was ready to vote tonight. So we thought, well, if people aren't ready to vote tonight, then maybe we need more discussion.
Who is not ready?
Most of us in the room weren't ready.
Okay.
I won't slouch so much.
Well, I guess we need to hear the reasons why nobody's ready.
Because we don't want to have to go through all the expense. Well, Bob, can you explain a little bit what's involved with it?
Sure.
Maybe you can say it better than I can.
Yeah. Well, so one of the things that was brought up to me is that we just wanted to have some advisory council or some advice to help through the I-District Revitalization project. And my response to that was, well, if that's all you want,
got the heat on.
then
there's chocolate in that box.
by creating the
Might
Historic
melt.
Preservation Commission, you're doing more than just that. You're creating new requirements on anyone who wants to make improvements to their property in the historic district if you're going to enact this law. So I think the question is, what do you want? What does the board want out of this? Do you want a formal commission that governs improvements to real property that's in the historic preservation district? So things like replacement of a porch or windows or painting a house or replacing a roof. Do you want them to have to go to this commission and get approval? Or would you rather have
a stronger, well, there won't be porches and windows. It's mostly Main Street is the district, and Washington Avenue is the district. And if maybe we should have a meeting with various business owners and building owners on the Avenue and in Union and see what they think. Because if they want to have a certain look and not have somebody go rogue and not follow, and well, like that store I mentioned across the street from Freight Shopper with the graffiti all over the walls, or it's kind of a mural, but it kind of looks like graffiti. But maybe the business owners on the Avenue and Union should have some input on it. I think that might be a good idea. Side of Main Street, or other side from where?
From
Main Street's 2 miles long.
Yeah, North Street from,
It's by the arch.
McKinley, and I can't see the map isn't very clear, but it's near McKinley. And
yeah, they made it the whole Main Street a historic district is what they did. So yeah, those would be in the district.
Mm-hmm.
But it does provide, from the village standpoint, in the appearance of the village, it does provide a second layer of, so let's say, protection that someone can't just go wild and do something. Well, I'll give you an example, and it's not really historic either. It's just that that house next to Pizza Hut with all the gingerbread all over it, the house, the little guest house behind it used to be an exact duplicate of the front house. And they were allowed to change it completely, and it just looks like a house now or a cabin or something. So that could have been preserved if the Historic Commission was operating at that time.
can we put in just the advisory committee for now, and then we can go to a real commission later on after we have more time to investigate it, Bob?
Yeah, we could. I would still have to draft up the law to
make the change.
To make the change. So I prefer not to have to do this more than once. So,
Okay.
I mean, I will
Check.
the approach
I'm just asking because I don't really know how these things work.
Right.
Well, we could just say too is that
Thank you,
now that
Susan.
we have a fire marshal, also too, that he would be.
Why don't we just wait till January and decide that? Because I'm not sure if a committee that was going to give advice, what kind of advice are they going to give to the village board?
Well, obviously you would have the fire marshal on there, and you would have people that have historic knowledge and background.
And I would put Alberta in charge of it. She's my chairwoman, because she, and you and I talked about this, and you also agreed with me. That's when you and I made these, when we talked in January about this. At least she knows what some of the rules are, so that she can kind of guide us when we're doing the Washington Avenue revitalization. You see, Ted, I just don't want to get too far ahead in the revitalization and start to make repairs that SHPO is going to be against, because then we're going to have to change it. So I'd like someone to advise me what we could get into trouble with before we get going too far. That was all I was trying to think of.
The other thing too is we could use the Broome County historian as well.
Yeah, that would be good.
The Broome County what?
Historian.
Yeah, he doesn't really get involved in that. He's involved in the history of Broome County, not. Binghamton has an organization with a different name. It's called CAUD, C-A-U-D. I forget what it stands for, but they would be the ones that could give advice on something like this. I think that, have you talked to Alberta on all this?
Yes, I have. Okay,
so maybe we should get a meeting together with Alberta and a couple business owners from each district and see what they think. Because really, it would benefit the village or hurt the village, one way or the other. Or it would directly benefit the business owners and the building owners. I think they should have some input. I don't really see this as a board decision so much. Listen to what they say and kind of give them some pointers and see how they feel.
See, originally I was all for making it a commission, taking it totally away from the planning, just going ahead. That's why I had Bob do all this. But then Bob mentioned today, he said, but Mayor, now I know why you wanted to do it. Why my original reason. And I never told him my original reason. I just told him I wanted the commission out of the planning board and into its own place, own commission. So that's why we were having a little bit of a communication gap here, and that's why we're still talking about it. I don't mind having a commission either. So if that's the way we decide to go, I have no problem with it either way.
What was your original reason?
Because I just wanted it out of the planning and into its own, so that it could work on its own without going through the.
Well, because also the planning board also didn't have anybody on there that knew historic preservation rules and regulations.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I agree with you. It needs more discussion. I wouldn't say we should go right away and have Bob do a whole new law until we decide what. I'm not sure if we would need it. If we don't want to do a historic preservation commission, I'm not sure if we need an advisory committee, really. And I really think we should get a lot of input from the business owners, too.
We could appoint a historian, a particular person to serve as the village historian.
We have an historian.
Okay, so then we could use that person to help provide that level of advice that we're looking for.
That would be good. Suzanne Meredith is our village historian.
Okay.
She's the one who's refurbishing the carriage house over by the library.
Oh, thanks.
So you said earlier that these commissions sometimes overstep their bounds, or I don't know if that's the correct verbiage, but did they ever give what's the word? I'm drawing a fade here. Are there exceptions to the rules where they would allow something to happen and not deter economic development in an area?
Well,
because I would rather let the business people or an advisory board give a better business decision versus a commission that's going to stand in the way of 20, 30, 40 jobs. So
yeah, very well put. Yeah.
I'd rather go that way. So,
yeah.
Trying to say?
Yeah, there is a hardship provision in the code that allows the commission to not enforce the law strictly, but it's not, the hardship provision is not based on things like economic development or creating jobs. It's really more about the impact on the property owner. But any exception is supposed to be used as an exception only and not the general rule. So I don't want to build a law based on exceptions, right?
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, and just as an example, and I don't want to sound negative about historic preservation commissions, but I just want to let you know, like, as an example, the law says that if somebody wants to change their light fixture and they're in the historic preservation district, and if that light fixture is visible from the roadway, then they have to get permission from the Historic Preservation Commission to change the light fixture, and it's got to be the right type of light fixture that they're proposing.
Same thing if they want to redo stairs or that's in the front, or redo a porch, it has to go to the historic commission and they've got to approve it, and they have to meet certain specs.
And see, I'm worried about the homeowners. If a homeowner wants to put in a motion light because they want to know somebody's on their front porch, maybe the historic preservation wouldn't allow it. I just don't want to hinder.
Not if it's on the front and visible.
Yeah, I don't want to hinder the homeowner from doing something that's going to make us aesthetically pleasing to us. You know, they're trying to upgrade their property, which is nice.
I think we are getting ahead of ourselves, especially when you look at the Avenue, let's say, or even the Union District. We've got, I don't know, you can go down there and count them, signs on there that have been there for years, really, that are vinyl banners, totally illegal. And if we're going to do anything, maybe we should emphasize that more first and get through the code office and get some of these things cleaned up, and then maybe talk about this again in the future. I'd like to hear what Alberta has to say too. I haven't talked to her recently about it.
No, that would be good. It would be good to get Alberta and Suzanne both in on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Banners are illegal. They should be
illegal.
taken down.
Can we backdate it and make them?
Well, the banners are illegal anyway because it's part of code, and a lot of them have already been to court, or they have court dates or whatever, but unfortunately court's behind.
There's a lot of them down there. I don't know.
We have, so for example, I think Wendy's is probably in the historic district,
It
right?
is.
So how do you apply this law to a Wendy's?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you begin doing that.
Yeah.
So it's intended to preserve historic structures, historic preservation, and which kind of assumes that it's historic to begin with. And I mean, and in some ways it's a shame, but if we've already crossed that line,
Yes.
then there's almost no going back sometimes on some of these things.
Well, I appreciate you bringing it to our attention before we went ahead with this tonight, because we didn't realize the scope of it. I'm sorry, I didn't realize the scope of it. And I really don't want it that strict because of so many reasons. And I 100% agree with Pat. We don't want to stop everything for it. I mean, I like to preserve the past, but not at all costs.
Right.
That's all.
Well, let's say we're talking about the two business districts, there's really not too much historic appearance left to those districts.
That's
you know,
true. Yeah, true. So can we?
The Avenue's always been what they call eclectic. It's, you know, we used to have big,
Good word.
I guess you'd almost call them like signs in Las Vegas, but on a small scale. And, I mean, you can look at some of the old pictures, but yeah, I wouldn't say the purpose of it. And when we talk to other people about this, the purpose for us, I don't think, is to keep those areas looking historic as much as it is to keep them, so they don't do something that hinders the value of the neighbor's property and those type of things. And that's really can be done through that could be done through code, right?
Yeah.
Right. So does everyone agree that we should take the public hearing for the Historic Preservation Committee off of the agenda for tonight?
Yes.
Yes, I would agree.
Okay.
Now here's another example too that I just noticed down there in the Union District that on Badger and Main Street, that little grocery store, bodega, whatever they call them, they've got big, huge, bright spotlights all across the front of that building now. Now the code could do something about that and make them those lights should be aimed down at the parking spots and not out at the street. But don't,
I think they're supposed to. Yeah.
yeah, they are.
Those big yellow pylons that they have in front of it.
Yes, I know.
That they're trying to get people to not run into it, but.
I mean, they could have painted them green. Or,
yeah, it looks. I agree. It looks kind of too.
Could I have a motion then to take this preservation control off of the public hearing tonight?
I'll do that. I'll make a motion.
Yeah, I think we ought to wait till.
Oh, do we?
Oh, yeah, yeah, we don't,
Oh, okay.
we're in a work session.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's right.
Sorry, guys.
no.
Okay, the other thing is the prohibited parking on Nantucket, and I think we all understand what that's all about. We all kind of agree on that one.
If anybody needs any background, I have it. I brought some of the paperwork. And I think I sent it all to everybody. You got the report from Chief Gary, the 44 accidents in the last 3 years. Also recommendations from, I'm gonna call him the wrong name again. What was his name from the DOT?
Tony.
Tony. I call him Joe, it's Tony.
You called him 3 different names. It's Tony.
I called him Joe too, and it's Tony. From Tony Signorelli from the DOT. He's ecstatic to get those out of there finally. He never wanted to put them back, but when they redid that road years back, there was a little business there about 15 years ago. It was a little television repair place. And also
And what you're saying was we all agree to make no parking. I mean, take the parking away from there, right?
Exactly.
Correct. I don't know if
Yeah.
everybody agrees. I hope so.
Yes.
Yeah, I do, but we still need to have the public hearing to hear what they say.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's not a problem. No, I'm sure that. Okay, now for our communication.
I had a question before you go on, before I forget it.
Okay.
We voted to not have December 21 meeting, and then I heard something that we are going to have that.
No, we are not.
Okay, so then tonight's the last meeting then.
Tonight's the last meeting, unless we hold something over that we do want to finish before the end of the year, and then we could meet next week, but we would like this to be our last meeting of the year, yes. We would like it
Okay.
very much. Yes, and we decided that months ago, when we took off for the summer. Now on our communications for filing, let's see, the first thing we might be interested in is see the project closeout for water interconnection project. I mean, yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. I really do not know too much about this, so, Anthony, do you have an explanation?
So it's actually, let me see, it's C
Yes.
and F. So those are the two projects as part of the original New York Rising funding that we had, $3 million funding from the state. The first project was the water interconnection project with Vesco, right off the drive. And the Griffiths one is the central drainage, so that's the underground water retention facilities in the Northside Park. So we're looking to close out both of those projects. So it's a little bit of a process. We'll be getting more paperwork in. We're working with the state right now on the final closeout for both projects. So the water interconnect has been completed for a while now, probably about a year. So
Yeah.
This is just the paperwork to get the project closed. And the central drainage was completed this year. They had an issue with some of the grass that was planted. It was hydro seeded, but it didn't take earlier this year. So we had them hold off and come back in September and reseed it. And I walked up there about 2 weeks ago on the weekend, walked through the park, and on their letter it said it's 80%. The grass is 80% filled in, and it looks like at least 80% is growing back. So that was the last thing they needed to get the closeout paperwork started for that project too. So we should, like I said, we'll work to close out both of those and be done with it.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, number D is the Zoning Board of Appeals. I think we all know what they decided on that. Let me look at this.
That was the minutes, yep.
Yeah, the minutes, we have the minutes from that. E is the notice from the environmental facilities. Flood mitigation, okay.
Right, there was a letter of,
70.
okay, they received our, they went on that project tour down at, wastewater, and they had no comments at that time, so. But they'll work with,
Mhm.
from the DEC, so those are certified representatives of that.
Okay. Then we come to G, that's the letter from you, and H is Delta. This is both for the project for the architect for the Washington Avenue. I had a very pleasant conversation with the CEO of Delta, and we worked out a lot of little glitches we had. So I think it's going to work out pretty good. He had to explain stuff to us that hadn't been explained before, but we're all on the same page again. So we're going to be voting for that tonight.
I did have one thing on the Delta contract, was that it was in my packet, or our packets, and but then today Janice sent out by email a new revised contract, and the trouble with doing that is it's like a 10 or maybe 20-page contract. It's very hard to find where the changes were revised, unless you go through almost sentence by sentence to see.
I don't know why you said revised, because I didn't know that you guys revised it.
I didn't.
It says revised.
I don't know why, but she's talking about number 7 was revised on it, but I don't know exactly what on it was revised either. We're going to be reading over the contract with Bob yet anyway before we actually sign it. But tonight I would still like to
Appoint Delta.
approve Delta to do it. We just want to actually sign the whole contract.
Well, yeah, I don't really mean Delta. I
We
just
won't
mean
vote on the contract.
Yeah, we just want to vote on having Delta be the ones to do it, and at least get an architect plan for the job so we can move forward.
I guess all I'm looking for is that when we do get something revised from what was in the 12 o'clock Friday agenda and packet, when we do get something revised after that, if we can somehow have a way that it shows what got changed, you know?
Yeah, that would be good.
That's
for
a
all
good
of us.
idea.
Yeah, that's
We have a
good.
red line version of that we could
Yeah, something like that would be great.
back and forth
Yeah.
sometimes to,
Well, it didn't show up on the revised version that we got. Nothing showed up.
just the final.
Yeah. I think it was on the first or second page, and I don't think it was very big things, but I didn't go through the whole thing to try to check it. It would have taken 2 hours, you know?
Right, we could certainly send the red line version around. I made some changes to it on Friday, I guess it was.
Yeah.
We just put it up, I think, this morning. So.
Well, you're going to go through some of that tonight, Linda says?
No, he'll go over it later on, because we're not signing any contracts tonight. We're just simply, saying that we would like to award, to Delta to be the architect. We're just.
Yeah, and then we will get,
Yeah.
do some more work on the contract then after that.
Right, when the contract
Yes.
is completely finished, all of us will look at it first and go over it, and then decide if we're going to sign it, because I'm sure it's pretty close, but it won't hurt to go over it. That's all. Because there's a couple
Yeah.
of things I want spelled out in it, and maybe you do too, so we'll just all see.
Well, so the resolution appoints Delta as the engineer for the project and authorizes the mayor to sign the agreement. I think it says subject to legal review.
Thank you.
But-
Yes, it does.
Right. So I guess I'm just, I guess it depends what kind of changes. I mean, if there are going to be substantive changes to the contract, then I think that should be done before we take any kind of vote.
Well, what I would like to put in it, Bob, is we had a little bit of a confusion between myself and the CEO of Delta, and I explained to him how our departments are doing all the infrastructure. He just didn't know that. It might not have anything to do with the contract, but I just would like everything else spelled out so we don't have any confusion when it's actually time to do the work, because it will be our electric and water department that are doing all the infrastructure. And he didn't have a problem with it. I just think we should write, he just didn't know.
So we're not hiring any contractors for the work.
We are hiring contractors, just
Yeah.
not for the.
Just for not that stuff, that's all. And I think it,
Excluded from the bid, so when we get the bid documents.
yeah, I don't think that has anything to do with the contract.
But I just wanna make
Yeah.
sure, because I don't know what has to be in a contract and what doesn't.
Yep.
Cause
So
it's,
I just wanted to ask you about it,
Okay.
that's all.
yeah, 'cause those are contractors but it's just, he just has it in there blatant contractors, that could be anybody. But we could use our own people for certain things.
And I have to read over.
Bob, can we vote tonight to choose Delta contingent on board approval or your approval? Actually, I was on the committee, and Linda was too, for 4 weeks, or 4 or 6 weeks on picking Delta out of 14 other applications. I'd like to see it also before we, that we're going to vote on it or sign it. Because there were some concerns that we had during our committee meetings that I think they're in there, but I just want to make sure whether they got changed or anything.
I agree, I totally agree. I think that would be good. I think that would be very good.
And we weren't part of
Okay.
that, so we have no idea what your concerns were.
That's true, so it'd be nice if all the trustees could be in.
Yeah, we can bring them up to you if you. Should we do that in an executive session, Anthony, or should we?
I'll leave that up to Bob.
What, you mean, talking about the contract revisions?
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I guess so, but also the concerns that the committee had, and to make sure that those concerns were addressed in the contract.
Oh.
And the concerns were not big, but they were things that we would want in the.
Did you look at it? I don't know what your concerns were, but did you look at it, Ted, to find out if they were in there? Did they answer them?
No, after I saw that it was revised, I didn't go through like I would normally do and read it all.
But did the non-revised one answer some of those questions or no?
I didn't read it all. I didn't know we were going to vote on the actual contract, and I thought we were just going to vote on kind of choosing Delta contingent on the contract.
Okay.
That's kind of what I thought too.
Yeah, because I would be interested to find out because we weren't part of the discussions, so I'd be interested to find out what some of the concerns were.
Well, because one of my concerns was, and I might have read it wrong, but under the construction where they were going to hire contractors, they said something about if they really disapproved of one, they were going to disapprove of it, and I don't want them to have any final say in anything. Like we were saying in our meetings, Ted, we want to be totally in control, and I don't see it here, so maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just something on another document, because you and I have looked at so many documents with these companies that I perhaps have mixed it up with something else.
Yeah, that's.
The two big things, Cheryl, really weren't concerns. They're just things we wanted to make sure got in the contract. One was that there was an itemized list of what they were responsible for the cost, which is
Gotcha.
which is normal. And the other one was that they would provide advice and suggestions and all kinds of documents, but the public would have input, and the village would be the one that would make final decisions on whatever design was changed. Like the different garbage cans and the different light poles, and the village would have that ultimate decision.
Okay, yeah,
Those were the two.
Linda mentioned that.
Well, and just to address the mayor's concern, the contract in section 7 talks about the process for bidding out work.
Oh.
And Delta would help prepare all of the materials and the specifications, but it is very clear that the village would be the one to make the decision on who to award the contract to.
Perfect, and then they must have, after we had those discussions in our private meetings, they must have understood that.
Okay.
So that's good.
I think that was. I think those were the only two big things, weren't they, Linda?
I think they were, Ted. I think those are our biggest concerns, because we wanted to make sure they understood that we were in charge.
Well, then, if that's the case, then
As Joe put it, we had some very strong personalities involved, and we wanted those strong personalities to understand that the village is in charge.
okay. Well, Ted, with those changes, are you fine with it to vote on it tonight?
Well, No, just as a matter of protocol, I wouldn't want to vote on it till we see the. I would want to vote to approve Delta, but I would not want to vote on the contract till we see the wording.
Now, on
That
the
might be
contract, the revised one that we got, the revised ones we got, the revisions, are they showing up in blue? Is that
In
what
blue?
you're talking about? Because I have one that it comes out and it shows up in blue.
No, mine
Let's
didn't.
see.
Mine didn't come on with a different color.
Well, Bob, you said that we could vote on the contract, providing, legal counsel gets to see it, something to that effect. That would kind of cover it, wouldn't it?
Well,
Because you covered my problem.
The resolution does two things, as it's drafted. It approves Delta to provide the engineering services, and it authorizes the mayor to sign the contract subject to review and approval by the village attorney. Now, I've already reviewed the contract, but it's just as important that you guys, have reviewed
Yeah.
and are comfortable with the contract too. So, if you're saying that you're not comfortable entering into the agreement, then I think we need to change the wording of this resolution.
Okay. That sounds reasonable.
What did you see, Pat? Did you read through it, and what do you think about the contract?
I think it's a go, Ted.
Me too.
Me too. Me three.
And now that you've explained to me my concerns, I'm all for it.
Well, because we addressed those with Anthony, and he had no problem with that. Anthony Panici, he had no problem with that.
Okay.
I mean, he was very
I'd say if
agreeable.
Pat and Anthony and Bob are all agreeable, then I would go along with their advice.
Yeah, it would be nice to have them approved tonight so that we can go ahead in the spring and get started, is what I'm worried.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think we spent time going
Yeah.
over this. We reviewed it last week. And
Now that you found my
requirements that we
problem,
needed.
yeah, now that
And,
you, yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just
'cause
all
we-
out there, and
It does,
it
because
doesn't agree.
because that must have been the change, because that was the, thing that we were talking with Anthony about, and, he changed it.
So that's perfect.
Yeah.
We did what we asked.
Yeah, he was very reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, Drew.
Yeah, and
He's talking about
Yes.
section 7,
Page
page 16.
Yeah, and thank you, Linda and Cheryl, for meeting with the CEO and discussing that.
No,
It's nice.
very nice.
A one-on-one face conversation, because I can't read people through emails or phone calls. I need to sit and talk with them. It's so much more personal, and we can actually get things straightened out that way. It worked out very well. It worked out.
No, we had a very nice visit
We
too. It
did
was very
have a real
good.
nice
Where's
visit.
the,
He stayed over an hour. It was very pleasant of him to give an hour of his time. For any CEO to spend an hour with us is quite nice.
all the final decisions?
Yeah.
And he said that he was always available.
Looking at the section 7, this is page 16 of the Delta contract. Anthony was pointing out 7.03, where it talks about the consultant is gonna help, analyze the bid results. And then after the first set of bullet points says the consultant will assist the sponsor in preparing the award package. And then it talks about, all those bullet points, but then at the very bottom, the sponsor will award the contract. The sponsor is the village.
Mhm.
Very good. Oh,
Mhm.
thank you for that.
So
Yeah.
it's clear that it's the village's decision.
Yeah, but they're the experts. You want their recommendations, because they're the experts.
They
So
recommend.
pretty much, we're gonna go with who they recommend anyway.
Well,
They're doing the bid documents. So
Yeah.
Make sure that
All the specs and everything fits.
the work that we want,
But there's not gonna be,
out.
there's not gonna be any problem with us doing our own infrastructure, am I correct?
Yeah, there's nothing in this contract that would
Yeah.
prevent the village.
And he said he was fine. He said he was fine with that.
I know, but I wanna make sure it's in the contract. Or that I don't have to have it in the contract.
It's not in the contract, but that decision wouldn't violate anything in this contract. So you're talking about the village doing the electrical work and the
The plumbing,
plumbing, right,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
yeah.
That wouldn't be
I just
prohibited.
wanna make sure it's not against me, that's all. So
Right.
that's perfect. No, as long as we can do that, I'm happy.
Like when we talk about them, we go to prepare the bid documents, you know, we'll see, like, well, this is the electrical work we need. So then we would bring in our electrical department and say, you know, can you do this? Is this, you know, are you able to do this work? So we don't have to bid it out. So that would be excluded from the bid that we
Yeah.
put out there.
Right.
That'd be something we would do.
Yeah, but we've done that before.
Yeah, we do that for just about every.
We've done that before.
And
that covers our
That's
in-kind
new.
Yeah, if you're looking in kind.
I'm just double checking on things, because I don't always know what's going on, and that way I can make sure I'm covered, so that's great.
Yeah, that's nothing new. We've done that before.
Department head, Chad especially, has asked me on the committee, because he intends to put all new wires for us, so it's just exciting. Okay, next we have.
If we vote on that, Linda, when would you sign that? Tomorrow, probably?
Yes, I always sign them the next day. Yep, I will sign it tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, and we've already told Anthony we're signing it, so he already knows, so. So it worked out good. Very good. Now, the next thing is, a notice from Empire State Development for medical, crucial supplies.
Yeah, not so much. Same thing.
Anthony, is this stuff we bought from them?
No, this is
No. No.
business here.
Just so you know, we're down to 13 minutes before our regular meeting, too.
Oh, thank you for telling me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
You have the letter?
Mhm.
Everyone has a letter in
Yep.
there? Just shows this is from Empire State Development, talking about a, general project plan. What's this one here? For the near prime capital medical critical supplies for COVID-19 response project in Lorraine County. So this is the filing, they're gonna be, they have the address in there, 1701 North Street. It'll be a facility over at the Huron campus, looks like.
Oh,
And they were receiving ESD funding. Part D, section 2, in the program description. D was still the budget. ESD has,
Award him a grant.
granted some.
Mhm.
so we're just voting that we got the paper.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
just, we just filed. That
No, we just notified.
Okay.
And then if anyone has questions, they can, reach out to the mayor or contact ESD directly.
Okay, good.
Questions answered.
Okay.
And then, number J is just the annual financial report for us.
Just?
Just,
Yeah.
well, we don't have to go over it though.
No, no.
That was filed, with the state.
I'll remember to call
Last
on
month.
you tonight.
Uh-uh.
I forgot last time, that's why I picked that up. Okay, communications and filing. Oh, we want to have a, proposal, we want to check on a possible solar farm, a solar project. This is only a request for a proposal, this isn't to do it, it's just to look, to get the prices on it and stuff, that's all this is for A.
No, it's to part RFP. It's to help write up and get the, he's asking if he can go ahead and move forward with an, generating an RFP with the committee in, on that. We've discussed that with the committee, and he has a template on that, and also, with my, webinar, especially with tomorrow, we have some, contacts with them that they would help us also.
One Gay Kanoff is on.
Yes,
Okay.
and also the, NYSERDA also will be involved helping you with that, because they have all the expertise
That's good.
in that also, so they'd be part of that.
That is Adam Flint still doing that?
He's not the one that rings the bell.
Okay.
Part of the courses webinars
Oh.
I've been taking on it. I got one on Wednesday, it's on the seeker for solar, to work on that, so.
We have and next we have our Teamsters contract. That's, they were pretty decent with us on this. Anthony talked to the guys.
What number are we on, Linda?
We're on number 8B.
8B.
Okay.
The Teamsters, union and the reps, a few times over the last few months to, try to work out a successor agreement to the one they currently have, so, what we came up with. Yeah, I don't know if you want me to, if you have certain questions on it, you want me to go over the whole thing, or wait till the meeting? Everyone's there.
Do you want to ask the questions after the meeting so that people in the audience can hear too, because they might have the same question?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just an idea. If you would like.
Okay, notice, the next one.
Yeah, the notice for layout Endicott. Now, usually for the donation, we give them more, but we decided we're going to still give them a donation, but luckily the parade didn't cost near what it has in other years, so Cheryl has come up with a motion that we would only like to give them 500 this year.
Larry, and she's very, very, she's actually didn't think we'd do anything, so she's very grateful for anything this year.
Because we really can't afford 2,500 this year. We're really on an austerity budget pretty much, so.
Well, this is coming out of the celebration fund, but, but we've had other expenses come out of there, the lights.
Yeah.
That's my celebration money.
And now we're up to number D, the request to purchase two
It's
backhoes.
dry in here.
Hmm?
It's so dry.
I can go over this one quick, so.
I did turn the heat off.
Okay. So, it was June of 2018, we got two backhoes for the water department. And, we got on a program, it was a 3-year program, where after 3 years were up, we would trade those in and purchase new ones. And we just pay the difference between what the trade-in was on that and the price of a new one. So every 3 years we would upgrade, so it would cut down on maintenance costs.
Is it cold?
You know, would allow us to keep a vehicle or a piece of equipment that's always under warranty.
I just put some in, so I want to make sure it was cold.
We've done that with other pieces of equipment for other departments, and we got on this program. So it's up this June, will be the 3 years. So we're going to turn those two the two backhoes in and get two new ones. But because of the situation now, everything's about 6 to 8 months out from when you order it. So instead of waiting,
Or longer.
you know, instead of waiting until like May when we usually place our orders for the next budget year, they've asked if we can put the order in now. We won't pay for it until they're delivered, but they want to get it on the books now that we're going to.
That's a good idea. That's
trade
fair.
those in
Cheryl, do you
after June. So.
Do you want a water?
No, I'm good right now. I just was making sure that it was cold, because I had just put some in. So I was hoping she took a cold one.
Are those on state bid?
Yeah, so they're on state bid, and then we at the time we purchased them, we have an agreement with this Case, so that they give us a price what they'll buy them back for in 3 years, and then when the 3 years is up, we just pay the difference between what we buy them back for and what the new ones are. So that's. But what we do too is we have the price from Case to trade them in, but we still put them on auctions. We usually use Auctions International. We try to sell them for more than what they'll buy them back for, so it's less that we have to come up with. And if we don't, you know, put a reserve on it, and if it doesn't hit the reserve, then we'll cancel the auction and then just trade them in through Case directly. So that's our minimum. We try to get more if we can, but we've actually had pretty good luck this year with Auctions International. Everything we put on there,
Yeah.
sold for more than
we thought, yeah.
So it's been pretty good for us.
Okay, we still have a few minutes. We have time to go for our resolutions. We've got the steering committee. This is for our Main Street grant, and he's made a list of the people on the steering committee to help the business owners and what they are planning on putting in. This is the Main Street $350,000 grant. This is not the Washington Avenue project. This is for the first block of Washington Avenue.
This is the North Street, the Monroe Street block of Washington. And what this committee will do is, if you remember a few months ago, we put out an RFP and we hired Toma Consultants. They're the ones that are going to be administering the grant. So they've been in contact with the business owners. They had a Zoom meeting. They've had one-on-one meetings. So a lot of them were interested in applying for this funding. So, you know, the business owners will do is they'll put their applications in. It'll come to this committee, because we only have that $350,000. So this committee will work with TOMA and kind of rank these projects and determine where that funding is going to go. So really, that's the purpose of this selection committee here would be to go through the applications with our consultant and come up with a budget for the distribution of the grant funds.
There's quite a few.
Yeah, so they said they have about 8, I think, that came in, 8 applications. Some were larger than others, so that's where this committee will come into place and determine how we're gonna allocate that funding.
Well, so they finally had 8 in. I think that, what was it, 10, 12 went out, were interested at first?
Yeah, I think that the initial, so we sent out applications when we had to apply for the grant to show that there's interest in the community. And I think there's 10 to 12 responses that came in. So we used those to apply for the funding. But now that we received the funding, now we have to go out again and say, all right, now the funding's here, you know, kind of, now what's your plan? Has it changed? Are you still interested? And we also open it up if anyone else in that block didn't apply in the beginning, applied now.
Friends, I'm really disappointed. It doesn't look like they're going to cover 5G. We're right up against the top of the hour, which is when the regular meeting starts. This is the work session. Work session is this time when they discuss upcoming agenda items.
Position schedule, this is just how to take care of all the records that we have in the village that we have to decide what to do with.
Can we go back to that steering committee for a second?
Yeah.
Because of the change in the board in January, I think that if Pat is willing to, I would like to see him on that committee also.
You only put 2 board members on.
The new board members that were voted in aren't represented on this committee.
No. Well, we can only have 2 though, Ted. We're only allowed to have 2 on committee. And I put Eileen on with me because she goes down for the Apple Fest and talks to all these owners. She knows them all.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I felt that she has a personal contact with them, and we really needed the personal contact with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we did that.
Well, I would still rather see either myself or Pat, or even in January, Nick could get appointed to it also.
Once you, if you have 3 members of the Board of Trustees on there, then you're going to create a quorum. And so it's going to be it'll be legally a village board meeting once you have 3 members on that committee.
Yeah, not a lot to do. No.
But it could be a public meeting also.
The nice part is, am I misunderstanding this, or can, maybe not on this, but if we have any other committees, maybe not this one, but any board member can come to any meeting if they would like to come and
well, like Bob is saying though, whether they come or whether they're actually on the committee, it would have to be a public meeting, which I don't know if that's any problem really.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought I thought they were allowed to come.
It's still considered a quorum.
If it was open to the public.
No, it's still considered a quorum. They're still elected officials.
Okay, sorry.
I mean, I think the danger with putting 3 members on that committee is whatever is decided on that committee, that's, you know, it could have the potential of dictating what happens at the village board level. So I don't think you want to create a quorum of the board on that committee.
I mean, you're going to be discussing personal finances, I think, at times with maybe some of the business owners on their applications. I don't know if that's
Probably
you want to have out.
You don't want to.
Yeah.
I appreciate the plug, but maybe there'll be some.
Well, then maybe it should be Pat on there instead of Eileen then.
Yeah,
that would keep it at 2.
No, I wanted somebody with a rapport with the business owners is the reason I put Eileen on it, because she's down on the avenue all the time and they all know her. So I wanted somebody with the physical rapport, and I thought that would work out well.
Well, Eileen and I will arm wrestle after the meeting.
There you go. There you go. That's what we'll do.
What'd you say, Pat?
Eileen and I will arm wrestle, and I think it'll come out of time.
Can't hear it. It doesn't come across the microphone.
We're going to go on anyway. We've got to start the meeting now. I'm taking up too much of your time. we're gonna start the meeting.
All right, here we go.
So I'll let everybody get all the papers back together. Okay, we ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today is, of course, Pearl Harbor Day. So as we stand for a moment of silence, we'll think of all the people in all the past wars who have really worked for our freedom.
Gave their lives for our
Gave their lives for our freedom. Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. Okay. We've got some fun things for announcements. This is our last scheduled village board meeting of 2020. The holiday event on Saturday night was fantastic. I want to thank the Holiday Parade Committee and everyone else who participated to make it such a success. It was wonderful to have it virtual so that we didn't have to worry about the crowds, and everybody was so great. Anybody who did come to work had masks. It was great. Darlene Leonard did an especially miraculous job of engaging the sponsors to help with the cost of the fireworks and stuff in this depressed pandemic year. They still were very, very kind to us. And this was such an uplifting event for everyone to enjoy. We really had a good time, and the tree is gorgeous. I just found out today there's 4,000 lights on that tree.
It's beautiful.
Over 4,000
Over
lights.
4,000.
And Rockefeller Center cannot have it.
And let's see, on another note, it was great to view the presentation by Imperium 3.
Mm-hmm.
We've been in contact with him on and off for like 3 years now. Dr. Upretti has been very helpful to me on a lot of information. I appreciate his help, and we're so glad they've settled on here on campus. Paul Stratton, the Senior Vice President, has been in contact and offered to help answer any questions or concerns that anyone has. They're very, very approachable. We had a wonderful conversation with him and the CEO today, and they want to be very transparent, and if anyone has any questions, they can ask them, or they can ask us, and we will get in contact with them. If we want to have a meeting eventually with them, we can do that also. So I think it's going to turn out to be a very, very beneficial venture, and we're very happy they were welcoming them to our family here in Endicott. We had a long talk with the CEO of Delta, and I believe now we're on the same page for our Washington Avenue project, and I'll go over the contract with our attorney, but we're looking forward to starting this project in the spring. I don't need to go over the contract with you anymore. I'm already done. I'm set. I'm all set. Sorry I said that. We in the administration building have volunteered to support a family through the Southern Tier Community Center. In the boardroom, we have a little snowman in the back made out of boxes with all the stuff we adopted one family, and we have family night event things planned for them. It was through Nikki Post from the Southern Tier Community Center. Anyone who would like to adopt a family or who would like to contribute can just give Nikki Post or the Community Center a call.
Community Center.
And they would be thrilled to pieces to have anyone at all help us out. And I'll let Cheryl tell about the fire department in a little while, because they're helping a lot. You know, we have a wonderful community. For Thanksgiving dinner, for Thanksgiving Day, our police chief and his sons were out serving Thanksgiving meals.
Son and nephew.
Church. What?
His son and nephew.
Son and nephew from the Cornerstone Church, and it's just nice that everybody pitches in to help, and it's wonderful. We're very lucky in the village of Endicott. We have a lot of wonderful people. Now to the end. I want to take this opportunity to thank my deputy mayor Cheryl for 20 years of dedicated service to the village of Endicott. After being stifled from implementing ideas or suggestions for over a decade, you really came through for us this year, and I will still rely on your help as we progress on the projects you've already initiated, especially on that $250,000 grant for our heat savings. After 15 years of empty Huron buildings since IBM left, you presented great proposals thinking outside the box, bringing desperately needed jobs to our area. Not only have you initiated new business ideas like the glass recycling and solar farms, you freed me up to pursue other projects and participate in the police and code groups. Your organizing of our diversity program with us and all our department heads was a great support within our diverse community. Partnering with the Southern Tier Community Center and helping the less fortunate as well as proposing to have the trade unions participate in employment prospects for people not interested in college, will go a long way in restoring our community. The village is a much better place for all you have done. You've put your family life on hold for these 20 years, and it's time for you to enjoy life and spend time with your family. It is not too late to be a large part of your granddaughter's life, so thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. Okay, now we will go on. Tonight, we have on our agenda, I'm skipping over committee reports. Eileen, would you have anything you would like to,
Oh, goodness. Christmas trees and making the municipal building
You guys did a phenomenal job.
visitor friendly and, changed the setting to a little hometown feel. It was really a lot of fun doing it with Monica. We had a good time.
the rotunda, if anybody has a chance to come see our rotunda, if you're coming to pay your bill, please take a peek inside with the tree and Santa's rocking chair with his Afghan over it and the Night Before Christmas book. We've really made this a home away from home here.
Yeah, it truly did.
We moved in more ways than one.
Exactly. We really wanted it to be a warm, welcoming village of Endicott. And
It's a whole new administration and a whole new life here.
exactly, it reflects that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Okay, thank you. Kat, do you have anything you'd like to offer tonight?
I just wanted to say I was involved with a special meeting with Shailesh and Imperium 3 a week or so ago. And the preliminary plan that they have and the any environmental concerns were pretty much put to bed, in my opinion.
Oh, I'm very happy to
So
hear
I
that.
think the plan, if it works, is going to be a big plus for the village. So
Very good,
why
thank
don't
you.
I was part of it at a meeting. That's it.
Excellent.
Okay, Cheryl.
Okay, we've been working on quite a bit. I want to thank Eileen and the parade committee and Monica for all the lovely and beautiful trees that they've put out through all the village, and organizing the street department, not the street department, the light department, and getting all the lights up. Took them a while. Monica said that there's over 4,000 lights on that tree, the most it's ever been.
They had to work with all the supervisors on the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
Put the lights up a little higher. No, bring them down a little bit more.
Yeah.
As they're up in the trees with these bucket trucks.
Yeah, I'm trying to maneuver around. Well, women are always bossy.
Yeah. I used
No.
the police department in the rotunda too.
Yeah, but they did a fantastic job. Everything looks wonderful. And thank you to Linda for our tree in our offices. She went out and bought some trees for our offices. They look great. Also, again, with the Southern Tier Community Center, we adopted a family, and I want to say thank you for the fire department. They were awesome. They came up and they bought a lot of like $750 worth of toys that are on the list. If anybody's interested, you can go to the Southern Tier Community Center's website. On there, there's a link for their Adopt a Family program. And when you click on the site, it will take you to Amazon and their wish list. You can go on and you can purchase things off of that wish list, and it will get sent automatically to the community center. If you don't want to do that, you can also go ahead and send them a donation check, and they will purchase things off their wish list for the families. There's 75 families in need that they're trying to support for Christmas. They're all local. They're all Endicott families. So you know that it's going to stay here. Your donation is staying here right in our community. They're doing a phenomenal job over there with supporting Endicott, and we're very proud to have them. We'll be delivering our snowman that has all the little gifts in there, and some of the gifts that are in there ideas came from the wish list of this one family. So we'll be delivering that tomorrow. So that will be fun. I also, again, ask the public if they would love to come see the the rotunda. We have, and look at the village webpage. We got beautiful pictures of Santa and the Grinch and the rocking chair. That was priceless. It was very good. And I want to thank everybody that had come and helped out with after-hour tires, and then they have beautiful floats. I mean, they came and they left them there and for a little while after the tree lighting. We were here a little late because we were wrapping up. But they did a great job with that. And Randy Northup for the displays that he put out, they were wonderful. He came and he picked them up today. He left them out all weekend so people can see them. And his daughter Katie and his dad for helping out with that. We want to thank them for that. There's a couple other things that we'll be working, that we're still going to be working on. I have not heard back. I left a message regarding our last project that we submitted for the NYSERDA energy community. We submitted the lights, the street lights, and we're working now on all the municipal buildings that turned over. 80% of the municipal buildings light fixtures have been all turned over to LED.
Nice.
So we met that threshold. We're just waiting for the basement of the library is the last of it that we need to do. And I think there's 2 offices down at the, but Gerard said he'll get that down at the airport, that he will get those turned over. So then after we do that, we'll be 100%. But we met the threat at over 80%. So we can go ahead and submit that as soon as we hear back, because we can't submit one action item until we get approved for the last one that we submitted. Unfortunately, with the holidays and everything, it hasn't gone through as quickly as I would hope, but hopefully we'll hear back sometime this week. I did leave Terry a message, so I'm hoping that we hear back, because then we're all set ready to submit the 3rd one. And we all then, I'm already starting working on the 4th one, and then thanks to Chief Griswold, he gave me 2 more action items for our 2nd level. After we submit our next 2, which is going to be the building lights, and then we have the furnace that was put over for the police and fire. So not the furnace, I'm sorry, the windows. I said furnace. We're working on the furnace. We're working on the furnace. Sorry, because we were just talking about that today.
Nice.
Yeah, they're gonna have to put one in. But the windows. So I'll be working on that one to get that one through. And that's our 4 action items for the 1st level. We get those submitted, and then we should be receiving a nice check from them for that, and we can put that towards, because one of the things that we want to do is upgrade the windows in the municipal building, and we also desperately need a new furnace here as well. So hopefully once we get the 2nd action level, we can afford to do those. Let's see, what else have I been working on? A lot of stuff. We've been working on, I know the webinars that we've been taking. We've taken more on the planning and zoning board webinars. We've got the certification sheets that we get. I have another one coming up on the solar. This will be the last one in the 4-part series that was given. And then we have a NICOM one coming up also on Wednesday as well, the NICOM meeting. I guess that's it, but we've just been doing so much. We've been getting a lot done.
Yes. Okay. Ted, have you got some committee meetings that you'd like to report on?
Oh, I forgot about that's all right. Police auxiliary, but that's...
Yes, on this committee that, to pick the architect for the avenue, there was 4 people on the committee that met for 4 months. There was 14 applications. We narrowed those down to, well, each application was 25-page application. Over 2 or 3 weeks, we narrowed those down to 5. Then we had those 5 architect companies come in and give us a in-person presentation on why they should be chosen. In order to get to those 5, we had kind of an exhaustive scoring sheet that each of us did in writing to score which companies, and then we add up the scores and see who comes up with the most points. And then when we got it down to 5, we had the presentations. We did the same scoring sheet all over again, and narrowed it down to each person on the four-person committee had a list of, I think it was either the top 3 or the top 5. We ranked the 5 in the order of what each of us thought was the best to choose. And then from those rankings, we picked the top 3. And then from the top 3, we did choose Delta Engineering, which Linda mentioned already. And we will be voting on that tonight. Delta Engineering is a local company. They grew up in Endicott. This is their hometown. So it was very lucky that they did come out on as the winner of this, because they're really going to, I think, have some vested interest in doing a very good job for revitalization of the avenue. So that's the only thing I had.
Okay, thank you. Bob, have you got anything tonight you'd like to add?
There's been several things I've been working on, but they're all agenda items, so I can discuss them when they come up on the agenda.
Okay, because I forgot you and Anthony last time.
That's okay.
Anthony, what would you like to say tonight?
A couple things, kind of reiterating what we talked about earlier tonight with the RFQ process on the Greater Binghamton project. So it was, it's been about a 6-month process to select the firm, and very confident in the process and the firm we have selected. So happy to see that hopefully on the completion tonight. And we talked also about the Main Street grant, so we're going to be meeting on that as well. So between the two, we could see some construction starting to happen in the I district next year, which is exciting because it's been a multi-year process to get to this point.
And I did like his suggestion of just so we can get some progress going, is doing it in phases so people can still see some progress, and try to get it moving along a little bit that way too.
Well, on the agenda tonight, the village annual update document. That's the report we filed with New York State Office of the State Comptroller. So that's completed. We'll put that in the paper too. That'll be available for anyone who wants to review it here at the village. A couple other things, the New York Rising projects are both for closeout. We're working on that. That's the water interconnect and a central drainage project. Met with a couple different unions on negotiations. We have one on the agenda tonight for the Teamsters unit. And just working with the street department on a couple things. I think we're doing some work over the winter here, or maybe in the next few weeks on the ball fields. So they took down a couple of the dugouts that were rotted, and we'll be doing some upgrades down there. And that's it. We got a retirement system. Payment is due, New York State retirement system. We'll be making that payment this week. You'll see that on the next accounts payable. And I'm also working on some health insurance plan options, which have a meeting later this week with one of our consultants, and be hopeful to present something to the board early next year with possible options on how we can hopefully save some money on health insurance costs. So,
good.
That's
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we have 2 public hearings scheduled on our agenda, but we have decided we would like to make a motion, entertain a motion to take off the public comment for the Historic Preservation Committee because we want commission.
Linda, there's somebody's,
Sure.
sounds like they're banging their pen on their microphone, or something is it's hard to hear things with that going on. I don't think they're doing it on purpose, but.
I hope not. Okay, so would you like to hold off on this Historic Preservation Committee for tonight? Would someone like to make a motion to not have a public hearing tonight?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, and would you like to?
Roll call?
Yes, please.
Trustee Konechny?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Well, I was really looking forward to doing the seeker tonight. I'll vote to get rid of that, to agree with the motion.
Okay.
Trustee Chapman?
Yes.
And Trustee Warner?
Yes.
We are going to have the public hearing for the prohibited parking on North Nanticoke. We have 3 parking spaces there. There have been 17 accidents. We need parking off of there. It's only
No,
an hour.
44.
Pardon me?
There's 44.
44 accidents?
44 in the last 3 years, 17 this past year.
Wow. And we really, the people are not parking for just an hour, they're parking overnight. Our police department can't keep on giving out tickets.
They
So we
haven't
have-
been giving out tickets.
No.
That's part of the
So
problem.
we're entertaining tonight, so if anyone would like to speak on that for the public hearing about the taking away the parking places on North Endicott, there's 3 of them there, please speak now.
Yeah, I would like to just say, it's, as you're coming out of Roma's Pizza Place,
Yeah.
right across the street on the west side of the street, there's 3 parking spots there. Those are the 3 we're talking about. It's at the southbound lane, and those are the 3 we're talking about eliminating.
And that's the
Because-
only parking on that side of the street at all, the whole of Nanticoke, because all whole
Right.
of Nanticoke, there's no parking.
So if you're going
only
south,
put
you
it
come through
across-
if you're going south, you come through that red light at Franklin, and all of a sudden there can be cars parked there. That's why there were so many accidents. I think it'll probably turn into a right-hand turning lane onto Jennings, maybe. I'm not sure what they plan to do.
We already have that, Ted.
That's state anyway.
Okay, so if anyone wants to speak on this public hearing, we can use the raised hand feature on Zoom. And I'll also go through the ones on phone in a minute here. Anyone wants to speak first on that? I don't see anyone yet, so I'll try the phone numbers now. We can go to 607-427-1002. If you'd like to say anything on this public hearing.
Anthony, it's Donna. That's a good idea to get rid of those spots.
Okay.
Did you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Yes, thank you, Donna, thank you.
Thanks, Donna.
Thank you.
Thanks, Donna.
Okay, now we have 941-961-4244. Okay, if not, we'll go to 607-765-3345. Okay, next, oh,
Yes, this is Alberta. Excuse me. Can you hear me? Yes, yeah, I'm in favor of eliminating those 3 parking spaces on Nanticoke.
Excellent, thank you,
Thank you.
Alberta.
You're welcome.
okay. Next we have 607-222-6688.
I have no problem or no objection to the parking spaces being removed.
Okay, thank you. Next we have 607-341-2416. Next we have 607-621-6759. Would you like to speak on the public hearing?
Oh, I'm good, thanks.
Thank you. Next we have 607-296-0671. Like to speak on the public. Okay, I have, says call in user 1. You can try to unmute that. Yeah, that's all the phone numbers I see, and I do have, Christine Ellison, who has her hand up. Try to unmute, there you go.
Yeah, I
Yep.
just wanted to say that I'm absolutely in favor of getting rid of those spaces. That's a pretty busy street, and I can only imagine anyone parking there and trying to get out of their car would be risking life and limb. So yeah, get rid of them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
School bus drivers will be happy.
I think that's all I,
Okay. Okay.
Bob, you don't see anyone else, do you? Bob? You good?
No, I didn't see anyone else.
Okay.
All right, then I'll entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing for the parking on North Maple Ave.
I'll second that.
Okay, would you two,
Okay.
please?
We'll do roll call to close it. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Chapman?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
You gonna mute him?
Who's that? Ted, you
Oh,
there?
sorry, I was on mute. Yes, I vote yes.
Okay, good. All right, now we will move on. The approval of minutes for the meeting we had on 11/16. We have a motion for that.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from 11/16/2020.
I need a second, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Want to do roll call? Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner? Trustee Chapman?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
That's right. We have no bids tonight, so now we'll go to communications for filing.
I make a motion for communications for filing A through J.
I'll second that.
Roll call that too.
Yes. Much better.
Do Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Chapman?
Yeah. Now we come to communications for action. The first item is for the wastewater treatment plant to issue a request for an RFP for a solar project on the village landfill property.
This doesn't mean that we actually have to do anything. This is just exploring it and putting it out there, just to let people know that. I make a motion, for the request from Phil Grayson for the, to review and request for proposals for the solar project at the Endicott landfill.
I'll second that, Cheryl.
Okay.
He's done a lot of work on that, that's good.
Okay, so a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call. So, Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Chapman?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
And Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Okay.
Shoot, changing it up, fancy.
Well, it's easier to ask for Ted first because we don't see him. He's not sitting here and I forget he's here, poor man. Next is the Teamsters Contract. I would like to have a motion to accept the Teamsters Contract for our workers.
I'll make a motion to accept the Teamsters contract.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Do a roll call. So, Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Chapman?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
And Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Now I would like a communication protection notice to Light Up Endicott. We usually give them $2,500, but this has been a hard year for us, and the parade committee didn't have to spend quite as much money on bands and things. So, Deputy Mayor Chapman, would you like to make a motion on this item?
Yes. And I know Darlene didn't think she didn't ask us and she didn't think we were going to, so I told her no, that we could do something. So I just asked her please to put in a request. And she did, so, I would like to make a motion for coming out of our celebrations fund, $500 to give to the Light Up Endicott.
And now is Light Up Endicott the same as the Christmas
the holiday
parade?
Celebrations, the parade committee, yes, the same thing. It's just that they called it Light Up Endicott this year.
Okay, but it is the parade committee, Christmas parade,
Yes.
Darlene Leonard and everybody, okay.
Yes, yes. And they did a phenomenal, they used a new techno fireworks people this year, and she said that they were phenomenal. And if I don't, some people might have noticed, but they used 3 different brand new fireworks displays that they just mixed just for Endicott, and we were the first test run for them. She was telling me they did a phenomenal, it was beautiful, and I did see the 3 different ones that they were talking about, and so they were very pleased with that, and so they'll expand on them for other parades. I guess we were the test people because it was a holiday parade. They didn't want to test them at a 4th of July function. So they tested them here, and they got great response, and it was a good one. But, yes, they got to be commended. Yeah.
I was surprised that they could do that many fireworks for $3,500.
You're
It's
right.
amazing.
Went on for a long time.
Yeah, the last ones was over 5,000, she told me.
Yeah, so we did.
And they didn't last as long, and it wasn't as nice.
No, this was,
Mhm.
they did a great job.
Yeah, she got a new company that came in. They were very, very, and even Brian said they were very easy to work with.
Well, now we've had a motion, I'll need a second.
I'll second that.
Okay. Could you do roll call, please, mister?
No, I think Ted seconded, didn't he?
Oh, did Ted second it?
I think
I was going to, I don't know if I did though.
I thought you did.
Okay, I'll do it, I'll second it.
Okay, good.
Okay. Just don't spend all my celebration money.
So,
I'm sorry.
motion and second, with the roll call.
Yes.
Trustee Warner,
Yes.
trustee Chapman,
Yes.
trustee Dorner.
Yes.
Trustee Franklin.
Yep. Okay. Now we have a request to purchase 2 backhoes in next year's budget for the Village of Endicott Water and Street Department. Anthony, would you like to explain to our guests, how this works so that they would know how we're spending the money?
Sure, so, we purchased these in June of 2018, under a 3-year deal where we buy the 2 in June of 18, and 3 years later, we're able to trade those in for 3 new backhoes, 3 years later. And we pay the difference between the purchase price and what the trade-in value is at that point. So, so we do this for a couple different pieces of equipment throughout the village. It saves us on maintenance costs, and it keeps the equipment under warranty because there's a 3-year warranty. So it kind of establishes our cost for that 3-year period. And with everything going on, you know, kind of in the world now, where everything's really on back order and it's taking so long for equipment to be built. Usually we would put this purchase in around May for our June budget, but because there's, you know, 6 to 8 month at least lead time on these right now, we'd like to put the order in now, reserve them. We won't pay for them until they're delivered in June or later. So this would just be the upgrade of the 2 backhoes we purchased. It'll be 3 years ago now. So, and we, like I mentioned earlier too, that we have the trade-in value. But what we do is we put these on an Auctions International website, and we try to sell them for higher than the trade-in value, so it's less we have to purchase the new ones for. So we'll be doing that as well, but that probably won't be till you know, maybe late spring, early summer.
All right, may I have a motion for this?
I'll make a motion for the backhoes.
I'll second.
So just to be clear, so it's a motion to purchase the 2 backhoes and authorize also to authorize sale or trade-in of the existing 2.
Yes.
Get our name in there so we can get it.
Yep.
Yes, very good.
I know, because they were.
Can we get a little more specific on the wording? I mean, I make a motion for the backhoes. That's not much of a motion.
Bob did it, but.
Bob just did it.
Okay.
Oh,
Bob just clarified it.
okay, good.
to buy the backhoes and the right to sell the ones that we do have.
Mm-hmm.
Bob made it a little bit more clear, so.
Okay, we have motion and second, we'll do a roll call.
Yes.
Trustee Warner,
Yes.
trustee Chapman,
Yes.
trustee Dorner,
Yes.
and trustee Connect.
Yes.
All right, now we come to Eileen Kennedy's favorite part of the.
Oh, my goodness.
Second favorite part.
I like this because it makes me feel like I got a lot of money. I make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Roll call on that.
Yes, please.
Trustee Warner,
Yes.
trustee Chapman,
Yes.
trustee Dorner,
Yes.
trustee Connect.
Yes.
All right. Now we come to the section of our meeting for hearing of visitors, and I've got a folder there for you, Mr. Bates. I don't have a list, we only have 3 people, so I see them right there.
We'll call on you, we'll, unmute, and then you'll have 3 minutes to, speak to the board. So first we'll do Heather Staley. And, yep.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for taking a few minutes to listen. About a week or so ago, I was in a meeting and we kind of got off topic. The meeting was with some people in the community that I would describe as being business leaders, business movers and shakers. And what they said to me is that investors are leery of not just Endicott, but the town of Union as well, because there's this narrative out there on social media, in the newspaper, that, quote, the battery people don't want any new industry at all in Endicott. And he says it's quite a turnoff for him when he's talking to investors, talking about this area, because people think we're a bunch of crazies who don't want any new industry. And it simply isn't true. I've heard no one say this whatsoever, that we don't want any new industry in Endicott. And what I was thinking is, from this moment forward, what could we do as residents, as elected officials, to put an end to this myth, rumor, whatever you want to call it? We need to put an end to this. We need to show investors and business people that our arms are open to receive new business. We want technology. We want green jobs. We're not going to, run around protesting everybody who wants to open up a company in the town of Union or Endicott. We just want businesses that are transparent, will follow the rules, like seekers, environmental studies, and so forth. So we really need to find a way where we can show that we're educated, we're skilled. We have the type of community that if you're a business person, you could set up shop and we'd welcome you to live here from us. So right now, we really need to think about what we can do to show that we want businesses here, not that the battery people want Endicott to remain empty, because that's just not true. And we need to make sure that people stop saying that phrase. We don't want Endicott empty. We don't want empty storefronts or office spaces. So I just wanted to end with, it'd be really great if all the stakeholders could get together sometime and maybe just talk or brainstorm ways that we could get green friendly businesses here. And maybe the residents could come together and figure out what type of businesses we would like to see here and how we can get them here. Because if the residents aren't thrilled about Sun Jill being here, then we really need to come together and figure out what type of businesses we do want and just how we can get them to Endicott in the town of Union. So that's all I just wanted to mention to you guys this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Heather. Okay, next we have Terry Farrell.
Can you hear me, Anthony?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. I would first like to extend congratulations to Nick and Pat on your successful election. And now that we have new people with open ears, changes can be made to address the growing concerns among residents as it relates to new business, public health, and environmental pollution. And in order to incite positive and effective change, it is important that we continue to elect leaders who possess qualities such as integrity, transparency, are open-minded, and willing to communicate with the public. We know Endicott has had a history with decades of industrial pollution. The quality of our air, water, and soil has been greatly compromised. And with increased rates of cancer and illness and declining property values, we need to seek solutions that will improve our economy and protect the health and safety of our residents. There are several programs, laws, and regulations that have been established to protect us from further harm. Endicott has been recognized as a Superfund site. What that means is the program will tackle threats to public health and our natural environment, supports local economies and enhances our quality of life, prevents future releases of hazardous substances, and leads to new advances in science and technology. And in addition to that, New York is also leading the way by setting new national standards that help ensure quality drinking water and safeguard New Yorkers' health from chemicals in our environment. Emergent contaminants such as 1,4-dioxane and PFAS will not be allowed to exceed standard maximum contaminant levels. These contaminants remain unregulated by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. If tested and found that engineers, that they exceed these standards, water systems in New York will be required to work with engineers to ensure our water is treated and made drinkable. I think it is important that Endicott keeps our water safe, and to lessen the burden to the taxpayers for any further cost of remediation and cleanup, any company coming to Endicott, when properly classified, whose processes raise a red flag, need to have a thorough and proper state environmental quality review and full environmental impact statement as required by law. If there are threats to public health to the environment, such as in the case of the proposed Sungeo project, we need to allow our stakeholders and our community members a chance to be part of a comprehensive study. We want businesses and should seek to incentivize local companies that may offer a better route to increasing jobs and are safer for our community. As the responsibilities are landing more and more on our local governments, it is very important that they utilize available legislation to ensure public health and related fiscal interest down the road. Thank you. And also, Anthony, do I have just a few seconds? I just want to share an event real quick. My company, Maloney Healthcare, partnered with iHeartMedia and Watch Us Change Us to create the first ever Watch Us Change Us Crazy Christmas. Donations were accepted at the mall last week. They are now being accepted at the Southern Tier Community Center. You can visit Mix 103.3 FM for more details on how to adopt a child in a local child in Broome County. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Carrie.
Next we have Bill Houston. And I got his phone number.
Yeah, I wrote it.
No.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Bill.
You're on, Bill.
Okay. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I would like you emphatically to say that you need to reject this Verizon master license agreement. This is very, 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 very bad for Endicott. We need a protective local law modeled after, for example, the city of Cambridge, Massachusetts. It's comprehensive and it stood up in court. This master license agreement, it comes from Verizon. It's written in their interest. It is not protective of our rights. We need a seeker and an environmental impact statement on the Verizon MLA before it is signed. Verizon's insurance has a pollution exclusion clause. That means they will not cover the liability of human health impacts from their ultra intense high frequency radiation, radio frequency radiation coming into our homes. This exposes the village with a massive liability. This agreement transfers control of our public rights of way to this private corporation for profit. They can erect or destroy poles at will. We had this guy, Greg Hansen, talking about, oh yeah, we're going to work with you. Let's see that in writing. We're being bullied by the FCC with shot clocks and deadlines and telling us that we can't say no to this. We can say no. We can say no via zoning. We can say no because of public safety and welfare. That is in the Communications Act. We have it with. We need an environmental impact statement under SEEKR and also NEPA, Federal National Environmental Policy Act. And we can also say no because there's no need for it. They are claiming preemption under the 96 Telecom Act. That is false because the Telecom Act has to do with voice. 5G is broadband data. It is not preempted. Our rights of remedy are being waived. Our rights of zoning are being waived. Our police powers are being waived by this contract. Our right to lawfully reject a poll application is diminished and waived by this contract. And Mr. Greg Hanley gave false information on November 16th at the village board meeting. This contract creates vested interest in Verizon. It will be very difficult to undo. Please reject the Verizon Master License Agreement. You are on notice, and Article 78 is coming if you approve it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay, that concludes our hearing of visitors for the evening. Now we will go on to our resolution. Our first resolution is a steering committee for our Main Street grant for the first block of Washington Avenue. We have $350,000, and we have to have a committee to help choose what projects are going to be done. So I would like a motion.
I make a motion. We'll get the resolution. I'm going to read the resolution.
Resolution for the steering committee.
Yeah. Okay. Are we gonna?
Yeah. Go ahead and make a resolution.
I make a motion to pass the resolution for the steering committee. Resolution establishing a committee and appointing members to the score and select projects for the Village of Endicott, New York Main Street Program 2019. Whereas the Village of Endicott was awarded New York Main Street Program funding from the Office of Community Renewal through 2019 round of the consolidating funding application to renovate properties in the designated New York Main Street target area on Washington Ave, and whereas the New York State Main Street program guidelines permit the village board to appoint a committee of representatives to score and select projects for funding under the local program. Whereas the committee will be known as the Endicott NYMS Project Selection Committee, and the committee's sole responsibility will be to work with the village program consultants, SOMA development consultants, to score and select projects for participation in the building renovation program. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the board hereby established a New York NYMS Project Selection Committee for the purpose of outlined in this resolution. Resolve further that the board hereby appoints the following five representatives of New York Project Selection Committee: Mayor Linda Jackson, Trustee Eileen Konechny, Village Manager Anthony Bates, Town of Union Economic Developer Joe Moody, and Pamela Riddleberg.
Okay, I have a second for that.
I'll second that.
All right, roll call, please, Mr. Bates. Yes, please.
Trustee Warner?
Okay.
I have a couple of comments I'd like to make on this committee. This is a lot of outgoing boards at the end of a year try to pass a resolution putting people on committees, and the committee will be effective for the following year of the new board. And I think that's what's happening here, number one. I think the new board coming in January should be the one who discusses this and decides who could or should be on this committee. Some of these people I do not object to. However, I think it needs more discussion. My second point is this is if you're going to, I guess we are going to vote tonight. This is a vote that Eileen will have to recuse herself. She should not be able to vote on a committee. She should not be able to vote herself onto a committee. She needs to recuse herself. It's a conflict of interest for her to vote on this tonight.
What is that illegal? There's no money involved?
There's no money involved. This is an advisory committee, right, that does not have any statutory authority. They're going to provide advice as to who to select for this project.
And then the board of trustees are going to make the decision on who they select and what project.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're just advising.
Well, this is
trustees have the final say.
Yes, and the board of trustees have the final say when it came to the architect on the avenue too, but the committee there did exhaustive meetings, 4 months worth of meetings, and there would have had to have been a very, very, very good reason for the board not to take their recommendation, and that could be the same thing here.
Bob, do you think?
But regardless of whether there's money involved, I don't know what you mean money, whether Eileen says she's not receiving any money, if that's what you mean, but
That's what I told.
it's still a conflict of interest for a board member to vote on a motion putting themselves onto some committee or board or commission.
We do that every January, Ted, when we approve the committees that the mayor puts together. We all vote on it. It's the same thing.
Those are liaisons to the committees, Cheryl.
Yep.
No, some of them are on the committee. She's a liaison also to this committee. What's the difference? They're not making any decisions.
Well, board members aren't able to be on committees. There's no board member on the planning board, zoning board, water board, electric board. They're all liaisons.
The planning and zoning board, the state law specifically states that a trustee can't be on those boards. Those are statutory boards. I view this as a advisory committee, a committee that's being developed to advise the village board for a selection for this project. So I don't see a conflict of interest for Eileen voting on this.
So Ted, would you like to?
Well, I'd like to hold it over.
Okay, if we're going to hold it over, that's fine. I would like to have a special meeting called for next Monday to vote on this so that we can complete this, so that we can be prepared to start.
When you hold it over, it goes over to the next regular meeting.
And I can call a special meeting for that, can't I, Bob? We have been doing it.
Yeah.
We discussed this in the beginning.
This is what we've done all year. When we hold it over, it gets held over to the next regular meeting.
The holdover provision under 70-3 doesn't specify one way or the other, whether or not it goes to the next regular meeting or to a special meeting. It's just not stated in the law at all.
And we have been holding special meetings right along to get things progressed because people were not prepared at the meetings to vote or weren't sure what they wanted to do. And we've been calling special meetings, so we've discussed it, and we would like to have a special meeting next Monday to vote on anything that we don't settle tonight.
Yeah.
Get it off of our docket.
Do it early. Let's do it 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock would be fine. Is 5 o'clock okay for everyone?
Fine.
Is that doable, Pat? I know you were.
Is there more discussion that can be made on that?
Well, yes, of course, if you'd like, yes.
Yeah.
Because I have no objection to this at this point.
Then why don't I'll recuse and vote.
Ted, Pat just said he has he's not against this vote. He can go ahead with the vote. You're the only one who's abstaining, so would you, against it, so do you still want to hold it over till next week? I think probably.
Yes, I would like to hold it over.
Okay, well, that's fine then. All right, we will be meeting next week. Pat, what time is good for you for next week? I know you were. 5? All right, we'll hold it over.
Wait, Bob, I mean,
Well, I cannot make a 5 o'clock meeting,
Okay, what time?
but I don't know that I need to be here. It's just one resolution to approve.
Yes. And you've already told them the rules.
I can participate by phone, actually. I'll just be on my way to another meeting, but I could participate by phone.
Okay, fine.
okay,
Then we will hold this over till next Monday.
5 o'clock.
Monday at 5 o'clock.
Are we making a motion?
We have to make a motion now
Yes.
for the meeting.
Yes.
I make a motion to hold the meeting for Monday at 5 o'clock, special meeting.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
I need a second, and we need a roll call vote.
Eileen, second?
Yeah.
Special meeting, 5 PM on the 14th. Okay, I'll do roll call. Trustee Warner?
We don't need to vote. Any two board members can call a special meeting. There does need to be a vote.
Okay.
So we're good?
Okay, as long as he's okay.
We've been doing that in the past.
Okay.
There was a motion made.
There was a motion, so we still need to vote,
Okay.
according to Bob, so let's
Well,
vote.
I'm just saying there's a motion on the table, so if you want to withdraw the motion, you can. Right, I mean, but the regulation Ted's talking about says that the mayor or any two trustees can, call for a special meeting. There's certain notice provisions that you have to provide.
Yeah, we'll get those done tomorrow morning.
So you have called the meeting and you've named the time, so we're really done. It's Monday, 5 o'clock.
Okay?
So we're all coming in here, and we all know what's going to happen, so.
Okay.
Let's do number B. The adoption and records of disposition schedule.
Okay. Make a motion, a resolution adopting the retention and disposition schedule that has been prepared for the New York State local government records, and each municipality is required to adopt said schedule. I make the motion.
No, second.
Therefore, be it resolved that the Village Board of Endicott hereby adopts the retention and disposal schedule for the New York local government records, LGS/1, issued pursuant to Article 57A of the Arts and Cultural Affairs Law, and containing legal minimum retention periods for local government records for use for all officers and legally disposing of valueless records listed within. Be it further resolved that in accordance with the Article 57-A, the only records will be disposed of that are not described in a retention disposition schedule for New York local government records, LGSA 1, after they have met the minimum retention period described within. Only those records will be disposed of that do not have significant administrative, fiscal, legal, or historical value to merit retention beyond established legal minimum periods.
Okay, so a motion and a second, for this resolution.
I seconded it.
Yep, Eileen second. So we'll do a roll call.
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
I vote yes.
Trustee Chapman?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Connectney?
Yeah.
Next, we want the approval of Delta Engineering to provide engineering services for the I-District Revitalization Project.
I make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Delta and the contract.
Alrighty, I'll second that then.
Oh, we gotta read the resolution. Resolution.
Okay.
You're gonna read it?
Ted,
Oh, you want me to read it? Yeah, I'll read
Sure.
it. Let me find it here. Resolution approving Delta Engineering to provide engineering services for the district revitalization project at a regular meeting, Village Board of Trustees held on the 7th day of December 2020. Following resolution was offered and seconded. Whereas the village has applied for and received the grant funding through the New York State Greater Binghamton Fund for Revitalization Improvements to the Village's I District, called The Project. And whereas the Village has issued a request for qualifications, RFQ, for professional engineering services for said project, and the Village appointed a strategic investment committee to review the responses to said RFQ and make recommendations to the Village Board regarding the hiring of a professional engineering firm. And whereas the committee has reviewed all RFQ responses, interviewed engineering firms, and recommended the hiring of Delta Engineering to provide engineering services for the project. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Village Board of the Village of Endicott hereby approves Delta Engineering to provide professional engineering services for the I District Revitalization Project. And be it further resolved that the mayor is authorized and directed to execute a contract subject to review and approval by the village attorney with Delta Engineering to perform said services, and be further resolved that the resolution shall take effect immediately.
Did I get it? I get
And
it.
then we register the what the votes are.
Right, well,
Do, the motion and a second, so we'll do a roll call. Trustee
Who did the second, Anthony?
Eileen.
Okay.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Chapman?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
And Trustee Connect?
Yes.
okay, next on the resolution is for the historic preservation. It's not that we don't want to have a commission, because we do, but we would like to have it set up in a little different way. So we're still working on this. So, Alberta, if you're listening, we aren't giving up on it. You're still in charge. We still need your expertise, but we're going to work on it a little bit. So we're just kind of holding it up for right now. So the next thing we're voting on is the prohibited parking at North Nanticoke.
I make a motion for the parking, pass the local law. And you know what? What did I just do with it? I just had it.
Okay. You might have left it at 4B.
Well,
I got it, Pat, thank you, I'm right.
You got it right there? I was just looking at it, it's messed up in my papers here. Okay, what it is the local law amending chapter 235 of the Vehicle and Traffic Law to prohibit parking on North Nanticoke Ave from Jennings Street northerly 120 feet. Be it enacted by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Endicott as follows: repealing the 1 hour time limit parking on North Nanticoke Avenue from Jennings Street to northerly of 100 feet. Section 23508, Schedule XX of the Village Code shall thereby amend by deleting the following: North Nanticoke Avenue west side, 1 hour, all in all, from Jennings Street northerly to 100 feet. Section 2, prohibiting parking on North Nanticoke Ave from Jennings Street northerly for 120 feet. The village hereby amends by adding the following: that on North Nanticoke Ave west from Jennings to Northerly Street, that prohibit parking there. That's all right.
Yeah, it's removing the section under 235-80, which allows 1 hour parking there, deleting that provision from the code, and adding a new provision under 235-74, which would prohibit parking in that location.
I make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so a motion and a second, roll call. Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Chapman?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Connect?
Yeah.
And I'll notify Tony.
Now, next we have unfinished business. This is the Verizon small cell. And we did have quite a bit of discussion, so would people like to give me their opinions now, please? Small cell?
Did you want to push
yeah, I can-
Mr. Houston's question?
Yes.
Well, so there are a lot of kind of moving parts here, and I heard what Mr. Houston had to say, I don't quite read the law the same way he does, but I did get an email today from a lawyer, which I want to take some time and review and do my due diligence on that. Also got some communication from Verizon. I want to look at that and just make sure we've got all of our I's dotted and T's crossed. The agreement does have indemnification provisions and insurance provisions which protect the village. Zoning doesn't apply in the right-of-way, in a municipal right-of-way, so it's not a zoning issue. And we have design standards that are in place. But enough issues have been made which caused me to want to go back and make sure we're fully comfortable with this. Mm-hmm. The other thing also is that the town of Union is looking at this, and I believe Verizon has reached out to Johnson City at least. So we've talked about kind of having a unified approach there. Binghamton has already entered into an agreement for this and adopted design standards much like ours. The ones we got were actually from the city of Syracuse, who's also actually already adopted an agreement and design standards. So they're kind of ahead of us. I'm not saying we need to, or I'm not saying we should follow them. We should do our own work. But I think a little more work does need to be done on this. So I'd recommend that we not vote on it tonight, do a little more due diligence and put it on for January.
Okay, I agree.
Bob, let me add one more moving piece to the whole process here. I spoke with Tom Augustini last week. He's on the Town of Union board, and they are talking to Verizon on the same type of thing. Our borders around Endicott are also the borders to Town of Union. So I think this was his suggestion that we form a committee with a couple of Town of Union, a couple of Endicott people, and also maybe JC, because we, like you said, we would want to have a unified contract, but also a unified, we don't want one side of Page Avenue having one type of pole and the Endicott side having a different type of pole. We'd also want to have a unified look to these poles, I think. So they're willing to do that. And I think we didn't talk about JC, but I think they might want to have JC get in on it also.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's what we talked about.
We talked about that.
And I think you should bring Vestal in too if they're looking to participate.
Oh, we could talk to them, sure.
You think what, Eileen?
To include Vestal as well. If
that's possible, if they haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Right. I mean, what's good for one is good for everybody.
We have some towers up in JC, you said, right, Bob?
No, Binghamton.
Well, Binghamton, yes, but they also do, well, they're not towers, right? They're the facilities.
I'm sorry, yeah.
They're not towers.
There's at least one facility that's been put into somewhere in JC. They don't have a master license agreement there, which I think is a demonstration of the fact that whether or not we do a master license agreement, they feel they have the authority to come in and put these in the right of way. And I think they're right under the FCC regulations. So, and they went ahead and did that in JC and other places as well. So there's some benefit to having an agreement in place. But again, no need to rush into it, and let's make sure we've got everything that's been raised fully addressed.
I agree.
And I think I don't know if anybody else heard it. I thought I heard when he was there that they weren't planning on anything to do in Endicott for a year anyway. So that's really.
Not for a while, and they weren't even going to do 5G, and it only. He was saying too when we met with them, it's like they were just doing this. They might not even come at all. You never know, but they were just doing this as because they're just doing it in different areas. That's all.
And they have a lot of different options of looks of poles, and we're lucky because at least in the two business districts, our light poles are behind the businesses. So at least in the business districts, they won't be. Whoever was not at that meeting when he was there, he showed some pictures of some samples. They're kind of like a telephone pole with a transformer box or a transformer barrel on top, very similar to what we have now. But other companies can come to town and also would want to put their poles up too.
No, they wouldn't put their poles up. They'll use the same pole.
They said they can, but he says he's never seen it happen.
No, he said most of them do.
Well, it can be either way. They could either do a poll.
Yeah, we don't
or,
want too many
or
poles
share
up in the
polls.
village.
I think, we would have a limit of no more than 2 facilities on a pole. That's what our standards say. So at least there wouldn't be more than 2, but yeah, but the general concept is, I think Ted was saying, there's more companies that might come in, and that is correct. I think there's like 3 or 4 companies that do this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a smart idea to work with Town of Union, JC, and well, Town of Union borders Binghamton too, so maybe they'd be involved.
They already have theirs own, he said.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Okay.
so do we need to?
So then the 2 villages, the town, and maybe Vestal.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to have a motion to table it to,
Till January?
yeah,
The table until we get more information.
or, okay, just table it.
I like that idea, yeah.
Table until we get more information.
Okay.
You gonna vote on that?
Yeah.
So is that a motion, Cheryl?
Yes.
Okay, I'll second it.
Okay, very good.
We need a roll call on that too? Or you just need the 2?
We should have a roll call.
Roll call? Okay. So roll call with the trustee Warner,
Yes.
trustee Chapman,
Yeah.
trustee Dorner,
Yes.
and trustee Connect.
Yes.
Okay, now under new business, we have fines, and they would like a contract, and,
No. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna let,
This
Cheryl
is, we're not
discuss
going to do anything with this just yet.
it. Oh,
This was just under new business to discuss, for open up for discussion.
very good, thank you.
I'm sure you've all seen the email from Vines, and what you have in your packet is the contract that was done, back in 2018 with Vines for the property that's across from, Mercer Park at, see, that one is on South Loader. That was, at
Yeah, Loader.
604 and 604.5 South Loader. Excuse me. And she contacted me and wanted to know if we would be interested. There's another property there on Loader that's a vacant property. In the and we looked at it. It's smaller. It's half the size of this other one that they've taken over. The only thing, when I was talking with the street department and the water department, she had mentioned in her notice that she wanted maybe possible put some fruit trees and things like that. And if you wanted to see the 2 guys turn white, they turned white. They don't. So when we do the agreement, is there's still a lot of water and sewer infrastructure underneath that property. They do prefer not to have any trees because we have been having issue with tree roots damaging water and sewer lines. So their recommendations if we do a new contract is if we could put that stipulation in there, no trees, and if they wanted to put like strawberry bushes blueberry bushes or strawberry patches, that's fine, but they prefer not to have any large fruit-bearing trees in that area because of the infrastructure. They're afraid that we get damaged. We've been having a huge issue in the village with that right now. And unfortunately, the other issue with that is I'm sure some people might know that from your property line to the sewer, the property owner is responsible for repairing, and it can be very costly. So that would be the village. Either way.
Is she asking, because the nice part about that Vines property is that there's water accessibility right there. Where was she planning on going?
You know the one, it's right on the corner of South Loader, and it's on the opposite side. Okay, see, the one is over here by the pump house. This is across the street on the corner of South Loader and Mercer. It's that little land there. It was one of those houses that was taken during the flood, and it has to remain as green space under that provision. So this is a great use for that.
For sure.
It's just that we would like to do that, but one thing is that talking with the street department, the water and sewer department, they prefer not to have any trees. And if we could put that in our contract. that we have.
Cheryl, when you're driving in there to the pump station, would it be on your right?
Yes, that's the one that they have now. This is the one.
Yeah, but what about the new one?
The new one's on the corner across. If you go down, going towards Main Street, it's right the next block right there, the corner of South Loader and Mercero. It's directly across the street from the park, the corner of the park.
So it's like behind out the back door of the pump station.
No. You're going
No?
you're going too far. You're going go the other direction. Going towards Main Street.
Towards
It will
Main
be
Street.
it would be on the opposite side. It would be on the left side.
Well, we'll
if
get
you're
more
standing-
information. Probably
Yeah,
won't we?
well, you could look it up on I say this backwards all the time. The GIS. If you put in the thing on the Broome County GIS, you can see it. If you're looking at the one right now by the pump station and you're going facing facing north, no, you're going to be facing north, facing the Main Street. It's going to be that empty lot on your left-hand side on South Loader.
But how are they going to get water?
They have water. It's not that far of a walk.
Cool, okay.
It's only,
I think we put a pipe in for the other one and we give them free water.
right, but but they can still use that water there because it's only 2 houses away.
Mm.
So they can still use that water from that's there, if need be, because it's only 2 houses away from there.
What's the next step with this?
The next step would be for, I guess, the board, would it be the board to vote to go into a contract with them, and you'll have to sit down and get one?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would want to take a look at this lease agreement, and see if it needs any changes, and, then it can be approved by the board. But one thing, with these flood buyout properties, if you look at the deed, there's going to be a provision in the deed, we could pull it, but I guarantee you there's going to be a sentence in there that says you can't lease any property unless you have the permission of the regional director of FEMA. And I'll pull that when I get back to the office tomorrow. And that can be a frustratingly long process for whatever reason. They want to make sure that the properties are being used for green purposes. So I'm sure they'd approve this lease, but we would want to get it approved before we vote on it.
Absolutely.
So I guess when Ted says, what's the next step, maybe the next step is for me to look at the agreement, see if it needs any changes. And
Put the provision in there about the trees.
And then, yeah, I could put something in there about the trees, and then we could get it off to FEMA for approval. Does that sound right? And then it'll come back to the board for a vote.
Yeah. And we can contact
Bob, I don't know if we did that for the other one. Do you think we should?
He's worked with them?
What's that, Ted? I didn't catch that.
I don't think we did that for the other one. I think that was before you were here. But do you think we should do that for the other one at the same time?
Yeah.
Even though it's already there?
We'll talk with her, because I think she said that she's also went to the state, so we can talk with, we'll have a meeting, Bob, with her and discuss, make sure, see what she did, and if she did do that. If not, then we definitely would need to do it for this property as well.
Okay.
But I knew that she said that she has to file paperwork with the state. I don't know what paperwork she was talking about in her letter. It's just that she wants to get on the paperwork, started on the paperwork with the state, because it takes some time.
Yeah, it does take a while to get that approval. Okay.
So I'm not sure if that's what she meant.
Yeah.
But we can talk to her. Oh, is she?
Yeah. Yeah, she's one of those phone numbers.
The property is the other one. There's 2 houses that were torn down from the flood.
Yeah.
This is on the other one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's 509 is the address of that.
Yeah.
See that they've got, provisions.
Well,
We can talk to Relina privately.
See they have provisions here for, liability insurance.
Yeah, they're
Which
very,
is a good thing, so.
yeah, they have them on all of their ones that they have. They're very good at keeping them up. I mean, they look better than most properties.
Fine.
They do an excellent job.
It's so pretty to see that with all
Yeah.
the raised beds over there.
Yeah.
But the Chestnut Trail too. It's gonna be really nice.
But yeah, I think it's a win-win for everybody, and we can have them put in, gardens in there. And like she said too, and one thing that they donated a bunch of, towards the end, people might have got burned out with the garden, and they went around and they picked all the leftovers that were there, and they donated it to, several, I don't forget how many, food pantries, so it was great. They do a phenomenal job.
There was a lot of kale left over.
Yeah, that's what she said, kale. Kale.
Big favorite.
We were down there one day,
Yeah.
a student from, I forget what.
Cornell.
Cornell.
Cornell, yeah.
Some
Yeah.
study down
Photographing and everything
Yeah.
down there. They've done a come a
Yeah,
long way.
they do great work. They've been very, very good, very responsible.
Okay. All right, next under new business, we were contacted by the DEC to be the lead agency for a seeker for Imperium 3. We talked to the DEC, we talked to the lawyers involved, we also talked to Imperium today. They have a engineering design construction firm, general contractor, who is environmental. They used to be called O'Brien and Gear out of Syracuse. It is now called Rambo. Bull.
And they're an international company.
Yeah,
They go all over the world.
all over the world, and they are pretty much handling it. We all decided that, we would like to make the suggestion not to have our own planning board handle this, because our planning board is new. I don't think that they could really handle doing this with a company involved. I mean, they had enough trouble with just a code change. I don't see how they could handle it with the company involved. It's very, very hard. I don't know if we could do it as a board.
No, I wouldn't want to do it.
I wouldn't want to try it. It's very,
Me
very,
either.
so we would like to just tell the DEC to do it themselves. And that
To be the
way,
lead
it'll be
agency.
done correctly, and it will be done to their satisfaction, and that's what we are suggesting. So I don't know how to proceed.
Yeah, well, so first of all, they sent the letter asking for a response by December 11th, and we knew that was not enough time, so they're going to provide some additional time. So this involves any involved agency, right? Every involved agency needs to look at the seeker aspect of any discretionary decision. And the way I view this is that the village board is not an involved agency, because the village board doesn't issue the permit or approval. It's the planning board who would be the involved agency. So I think that decision has to be made by the planning board as to whether or not it wants to be the lead agency on this review.
And she did send a letter to the chairperson of the planning board.
Right.
She's going to be sending a letter out and asking them that question if they feel comfortable doing that. I just got that email, sorry, before we came in here. I just read that. She will be getting that out and answering. And like Bob said too, I mean, we didn't have much time. Unfortunately, when we got the notice, it was November 30th. I mean, they sat on it for 19 days because they were busy.
And Anthony has advised me that.
Who is the chairman of the planning board?
Do it. Larry Coppola is the chairman. If we do this, we have to hire someone to do this with us, and we really don't want to spend the money on it if the DEC can do it.
Just a comment to Bob is that Larry Coppola used to be a trustee on the board, but he's never been on the planning board, and he's definitely never been a chairman of the planning board. So we're putting this in the hands of someone that really doesn't know what it's about, and I don't either. I'm not claiming that I do either, but just so you know that, Bob.
We totally agree. We're all in agreement with that, very much so.
Yeah, and so I'll certainly have to speak with him and really the entire planning board about this.
Right.
And I think we've got a meeting. We're going to have to set up a meeting, Anthony, for them on Thursday so they can review this. But I mean, it's a decision by the involved agency, and the involved agency here is the planning board.
And I did send them on that.
There was a lot of contention when we did the seeker for the change in the zoning. Is this to kind of take this out of our hands to have more people familiar with the engineering or the overall process to make those decisions, or am I misinterpreting what this
No,
thing's all about?
no, when we did the zoning amendment and there was all that contention, that was because we were undertaking a legislative decision to change the law, to change the zoning law.
And people were confused on what we were doing too. There was a
Right.
lot of confusion.
There was a lot of confusion with that, no
Yeah.
doubt. Here, there's, as far as I know, and I haven't talked to all of you about this, but as far as I know, you're not looking to change any laws. So this company is just coming in to apply for a permission under our existing laws. So therefore, it's not a decision made by the village board. It's a decision made by the planning board, like anyone who wants to come in and open up a new business, if they're, you know, if they meet the threshold for a site plan or a special permit, they have to go to the planning board for that permission. So that's why it ends up there and not here at the village board level. And so the question though, DEC is saying that they're suggesting that environmental review might better be done at the local Village of Endicott planning board level. And I think what Cheryl was saying and the mayor is maybe that's better off done at the DEC level where they have more expertise and personnel to be able to address some of those seeker issues. And DEC says, well, maybe, but there's local issues that the planning board should address. So I think it's just going to have to be decided between the two agencies.
Okay.
And I don't think we can do that here tonight.
No, and, you know, and she's going to be working that out because they're talking about it internally as well.
Right.
With her people at the DEC, so they're still working on that too.
We just wanted everybody to know that we got the letter and what it was about so that the whole board would know what was going on.
What's O'Brien and Gare's involvement? I mean,
Pardon?
O'Brien,
DEC, what's the connection?
O'Brien and Gere, which is now Ramble, is the engineer for the applicant. They're representing Imperium 3, and they're submitting the application on behalf of Imperium 3.
Okay.
Okay, is everybody okay on that?
Yes.
All right, now we would like to go into executive session, and Bob is going to give us the reason because I wasn't saying it correctly.
I think it's a motion to go into executive session to discuss the employment history of particular employees.
Thank you.
I had one idea before we did that. Last time we did this, the people on the Zoom had to wait over an hour, hour and a half till we got out of that session. My suggestion, I hope you're willing to go along with this, let us have our board member comments now, then they don't have to stay on Zoom another hour while we're in an executive session.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think that's fine. That's fine.
That's a good idea, Ted.
Sure. I think that's
Okay.
a very good idea.
We can start with you, Ted.
Yeah, you can start, Ted.
Yeah, we can if you want to.
Yes, go right ahead.
I have 6 or 7 things. The people on Zoom, if you want to grab a piece of paper and a pen, I'm going to give you 3 pieces of information at the end that you might want to jot down. But Heather Staley was on earlier. I see her name on there. I don't know if she's still on or not, but she was talking about bringing new businesses to Endicott. After the election, about a week after the election, Pat Dorner, Nick Burlingame, and myself went over and had a meeting with Chris Palto over at Huron and talked to him about, if you look at Endicott, New York, the entity in Endicott, New York is the Huron campus. And so that's a very important, very key part of the future of Endicott. And so we talked to him about what we could do, how we could help him bring more businesses over there. We discussed Imperium 3 quite a bit, where I think we all are in agreement that we all want to do everything we can to help Imperium 3 become a viable business there at the Huron campus. But they have a lot of open space there, and we want to work with him whenever we can to try to find other businesses that could come to the Huron campus. And we were there 3 hours, so it was pretty good discussion, and I think he was happy to have that input. The second thing is on the Christmas what do you call it? I got in my packet Friday. The packet that was put together for us was put together Friday. I didn't get it till Saturday afternoon, and so in there it announced the parade and the fireworks. So I didn't even get notified of that. I think that has to change in January, where the board members need to get notified of various events that are happening. But anyway, I'd like to give a special thanks to, well, a lot of people did a lot of work for that, and it was very impressive. I'd like to give a special thanks to Randy Northrup. He's been involved with the parade committee for many, many years, 20 or 30 years, I think, almost as long as Darlene has. And he made all of those different things out of plywood, trains and boats and camel and that type of thing. And he's been doing it for year after year after year. They put them on floats, they bring them down the avenue in the parades, and he was willing to set all those things up over there. I don't know how many, I think he was taking them down today again, but
yep.
At least they were up for a few days.
He was on the parade committee for 40 years, Ted.
Randy has?
Yep, he told me that the other day when we were here Saturday.
Yeah, and I think Darlene's probably been that long too, or more maybe.
Yeah.
Second thing is I'm repeating myself from the last meeting, but some of these people that are here tonight might not have been on that Zoom call, but I'd like to congratulate Nick Burlingame and Pat Donner for the election. This was the biggest landslide election Endicott's ever had in its history. To the people on Zoom, I would like to say thank you for all of you for your interest in Endicott, for coming to these meetings. When we have in-person meetings, we never have this many people coming to the meetings. I think tonight it was as high as 40 people. Also like to thank you very much for your support this year on the various issues that were involved. And also thank you for your support of Pat and Nick during the election. In January, we'll have a different board and we will have some changes coming. I'd like to give you my email. And if you have any ideas or suggestions on changes you'd like to see for the village board in 2021, you can email me. This could be in reference to the agenda, maybe the meeting rule, how the meetings are run, the rules that we run the meetings by, the hearing of visitor rules, mailing in topics on Friday if you want to speak, and then also in-person meetings rather than Zoom meetings. Some people are have some opinions on that. And then also, Cheryl, this is, well, except for Monday night, the whole overnight. Cheryl, this is your last night. So,
yep.
And you've been on this board a long time, and we started out at the first of the year, very, very friendly. And I still think of you as a friend, by the way. And I really enjoyed going to those towns. And I really enjoyed you and Linda and myself going to those town and village board meetings or whatever they call those. I was hoping we would do that all year, but
I enjoyed them too. Thank you. Yeah.
So the goal, I've talked to Pat and Nick. We've hashed around a few ideas. The goals for 2021, I think we want to run the village board meetings professionally and business-like. We want them to be informative. We want to have the issues explained to the people that are watching on Zoom, transparency. And one thing I think all three of us agreed on, we want to respond positively to the interests of the public. So if you have any ideas of how you'd like to see things change in 2021, the email you can use for me is T like in Tom, T Warner, that's my name, T Warner, W-A-R-N-E-R, at endicottny.com.
So cute.
The second thing you might want to jot down is Friday, January 1 is the inauguration of Pat and Nick. And then there's also a short business meeting on that same day. And then on Monday, 3 days later, would be the first board meeting of the year. And then, Linda, I know you've been doing a lot of thinking and people have been lobbying you week after week. And I know the position of deputy mayor will be open. And so I'd like to throw my hat in the ring.
Okay, Ted?
Do you know when you're going to decide on that?
No, but when it's my turn to talk, I'll give you a little information that might be helpful to kind of, so we can start making plans. When it's my turn, though, I don't want to take away your turn.
I'm all done.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to go through the rest and then I'll go last.
I'm good.
You're good? Okay. Okay, Pat, have you got any more comments?
Yeah, I got a couple of quick comments.
Okay.
Addressing Heather Staley's comments earlier about the perception of not being business friendly in Endicott. That's something that I know it's been said during the year about the no burn bro people are against all industry and whatever, but I think that's going to change. We've already started some meetings, like Ted said, with Chris at Huron, just because we didn't want a polluter or an incinerator. We're not against all industry. We had that meeting a few weeks ago. We have more planned in the future. The second one is this proposition that I see here it was in the Town Union correspondence. There was this project description to bring the packaging and distributing of antimicrobial products, including hand sanitizers, etc., relating to COVID-19. One of the No Burn Broom people, George, he's on the project, or he's on the call tonight. He's had discussions with Brenda Grover at Empire State Development and brought that kind of a business to her attention. And I'm not sure he should get the credit on this, but it's funny that this project has come in front of us tonight. And
they've been working on it for over a year.
Said that he'd be willing to go up and meet and bring a lot of industry to Huron that she has listed. So I'd like to trump Heather's comments that we're working in front of the scenes, behind the scenes to bring business here to Endicott and improve the
perception?
Perception, plus hopefully bring some tax revenue to the village to stabilize the tax base that the residents have to pay. So that's all I got.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. Yep. I guess everyone's congratulating Pat and Nick. I want to do the same. I've done it earlier, and I'll do it again. And good luck in your endeavor for trustee next year. Appreciate that. I also want to thank all the residents of the Village of Endicott for your support for the last 20 years. It was a pleasure working and serving you for many years as your trustee. I have formed great friendships with so many wonderful people, and I will hope to continue those friendships. I want to say a special thank you to Lena Bishop and Alberta Gazda for all of their support and love and all that they have taught me. And I love you, ladies.
Is that all?
No.
I was going to
got
say,
a couple
you
minutes.
had more than that.
Yeah, I have more than that. Also, I want to, usually it says one door closes, another one opens. I want to continue with my activism work in Denver's with anti-racism and diversity training and work with the Southern Tier Human Trafficking Task Force. These are projects that I have learned about this past year and have been working on, and they've become almost like a passion for me. So I want to start doing more with that. Also, spending more time with my children and my granddaughter. One of the things that my daughter had said to me after all this is she's finally getting her mother and her best friend back. Yes, because she said that I spent too much time with doing village stuff and I didn't have time for them, which, you try to do a balance, but I guess I wasn't as good as I thought I was. See what else? So I just want to thank everybody for that, and hopefully continue to working in some type of capacity with the village on hopefully some committees or something, since I do have a wealth of knowledge and expertise in some of the stuff that I can help out as much as I can. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
I just want to say that.
I'm sorry, I just want to say, and Ted, just because we disagree on some issues or things, it does not mean you're not friends. You're still my friend.
And you know what I've said all year long, don't you? When you smile, the whole room lights up.
Well, thank you, honey.
I just want to say, you must be really good friends. Put up with what you guys do this year. I congratulate you both.
We have many years. I've known Ted for over 20 years.
Oh, gee. Oh, very good.
So let's just forget about the last 10 months, Cheryl, and we'll go back and be just like we were in January, February.
That sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
Okay, it's a deal.
Now, Endicott has been viewed as unfriendly for the past 2 years, especially since IBM left. But I've had a couple of very long conversations with Brenda at the ESD, and we have a very good relationship. I talked to her this weekend, and I'm hoping to be able to make a few announcements shortly. She's working with us. I told her that we were totally behind companies she wants to bring. She knows how I've worked with her in the past. And so we have a personal relationship now, which is what we really need in business, because they're going to only answer to the people who are personally responsible to them.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing very good. So I'm hoping I'll be able to talk about something soon. I don't have anything definite, so I'm not hiding it. I don't have any names. I don't have anything definite, but she did tell me that she's going to be calling as soon as the conversation turns to where she can repeat it. So I'm excited for that. I talked to Chris Pelto also, and he had some very good news that he hopes to be sharing soon. He'll be in the village in the next few days to kind of give us a little heads up. So I'm hoping to be able to pass on some stuff there. Now, for the Christmas parade, we've been talking about this at our village board meetings for months. So anybody who didn't know it was Saturday night wasn't listening. It's been on everybody's social media, Endicott, everybody. And I was on the TV with Jim Emke's buddy James. We taped it. So I'm sorry if people didn't miss it, but there's nothing more we could do. We had flyers go out. We had people talking about it. So we can't do much else now.
We have them also hanging on the village doors too.
Oh yeah, on all the village doors. Now
it's on the thingy, Machusko sign too.
Oh yeah, Machusko sign. He put that up there. And as far as next year, I've got some ideas on how to make things run a little smoother. And I would like to be talking to my new trustees in the next week or two, so that we can kind of get an idea, so that I can tell you what my ideas are. I'm going to give you a couple different choices before the meeting, and that way you guys can decide how you want to vote. We'll have everything all laid out before the meeting, so the meeting will run smoothly. And I think also having more work sessions is going to help also. I have my committees already made up for the most part. I have everybody on them, and I have a little description of why you're on that particular committee and what you can do to help on that committee. Because I think we left out a lot of conversation last year. I put people on committees but never explained to you what they do, where they meet, and how they function. So we're going to correct that, and we'll have that in the next 2 weeks. I'll give it to you. I'm not going to make you wait till the 1st. For the 1st, I'm only allowed to have just so many people in here, but it's very important that Pat and Nick each have someone here to hold the Bible for them. So we will make darn sure that they have at least one guest being able to come. Sergeant Hoffman was over, and he really laid down the rules to me. We will not be having any open meetings. I'm sorry, Ted, but we will not. Between the governor and Sergeant Hoffman, there is just no way I can have an open meeting, which I would love to have.
Well, Town Union stopped their open meetings too.
Yeah, Town Union had to stop theirs too. It's not that I don't want to, but we don't have the 6-foot distance is what the problem is. I'm allowed to have a whole 10 people in this room at one time. And with 7 board members, even though Ted doesn't come in, that still leaves 6 board members. That doesn't leave a lot. So it's very difficult. And I'm hoping that we can get over this COVID stuff so we can go back to normal, because I would prefer it to be normal. So I guess that's about it. And like I said, we'll be talking in the next week or two, Pat, so we can get things kind of organized. So that's about all I have to say. So if, everybody's agreeable, we will adjourn to an executive session.
So we need a new
Does
motion.
Eileen have some comments?
No.
She said she's happy for today.
So we had a motion, stated, but it was never,
Second.
voted on. I don't know that we had a first and a second or a vote.
No, I don't have anything down.
Okay.
So this is a motion to go into executive session to discuss employment history of, particular persons.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
I'll second.
We have to do a roll call.
Roll call or just all in favor? Roll call.
Yeah.
All
All right.
Just because we're on Zoom.
All right, roll call. Trustee Warner?
Yeah, yes.
Trustee Chapman?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Connectney?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So we're gonna have to come back to it.
Yeah, we'll come back.
At
Yes.
the end of this. Or, I don't know, is there gonna be any motion after this? I guess possibility, right?
There's a possibility, but since we don't know, so stay on if they'd like.
Right, so we'll still have a meeting after executive session.
Yep. We'll come back.
Come back to. Okay.
Ted, I'm gonna call you, I'm gonna hang up and call you.
Yeah, on the 9427.
Okay.
Check, 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 check. Okay, friends, sorry about that. Sorry about the audio problem. I don't know why that's been doing that. So we have some fabulous news, right? Why don't I use my my text box to announce the fabulous news? I'm so excited. It's not many times that I get any kind of a win. So this is, what's the message? The message is, there it is. The Verizon Master License Agreement was tabled. I can't believe it. I'm so happy. It's really, it feels rare for me to get any kind of a win, because I basically, you know, I tried. I don't want to say I fought the Sierra Club, but I asked the Sierra Club for help, and they were like, you know, we're not going to help you. And by the way, local groups, local Sierra Club chapters are prohibited from taking an opinion about the health and safety impacts of 5G. That's the Sierra Club's official position, okay? So basically all by myself, and I don't want to say all by myself because I had a huge help from Odette Wilkins with Hardwire Broadband, Inc. Hardwire Broadband with an exclamation mark. Odette, Wilkins, I don't know how to thank you, because you were able to speak with the village attorney. You spoke with him in, attorney lingo, and he heard you, or he heard me, or a combination, or somebody heard somebody. And so I'm very grateful to you, Odette, and I'm just thrilled that something that I did seems to have had a positive effect, because we got this thing tabled, and it was a piece of garbage, because it's a favorable, it was a favorable, industry favorable, because they wrote it. It came from Verizon, this master license agreement. And, just let me just look at my notes here really quick. It was amazingly bad. Where are my notes? My notes are in something that looks like this. So, we don't have a protective local law. We need a protective local law. If we're going to allow 5G, I don't think we have to sign this master license agreement. They can still come in and do poll applications, but we can use zoning. This whole idea of this master license agreement was an attempt to put like a mind screw, okay, onto the Village of Endicott local officials, that we don't have the right to do an environmental impact statement. We don't have a right to manage our own rights of way, public rights of way, using zoning. We don't have a right to reject a poll application for any reason we want to. They tried to tell us that we're preempted by the 1996 Telecom Act. That's what Greg Hanley tried to do with Verizon. This guy from Verizon, this salesman. It's wrong. I don't want to call it a lie, because a lie means the person's intent. I don't know what Greg Hanley's intention was, but he told information that was wrong. It was flat out wrong. And it benefits Verizon, and it screws us up, because it saddles us with liability, massive liability, because Verizon's insurance has this pollution exclusion clause. And they consider radio frequency radiation coming off of their antennas, these 5G antennas, as pollution. They consider it pollution. That's excluded from Verizon's insurance. So guess who admits the liability for this decision then? The Village of Endicott. So when people start getting sick from the flu or whatever kind of symptoms that they have for this radio frequency sickness that they get from this guy Furstenberg wrote the book called Invisible Rainbow. He described it as flu-like symptoms. That's what high power level, high frequency radiation. It might not be. They call it non-ionizing, but that's up in the air, which means it might be mutagenic. Means it can mutate DNA. And it might also be carcinogenic. It might actually cause cancer. So this was a very, 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 very bad agreement for Endicott. And we also needed an environment, before we proceed, remember we did this whole environmental impact statement on the Sunjeel thing, where we were asking for it. Donna Lupardo did, and after Fred Akshar did, and a bunch of Republicans. Everybody's asking for an EIS now. And by the way, Reggie Parker from the DEC is retiring. So he was kind of one of my contacts at the DEC. I used to call him all the time. And he was great. He told me stuff. He was a straight shooter, even though he's kind of in the pocket of industry. He would still talk to me. So it was I'm really sad to see Reggie go from the DEC. I have mixed feelings, let's put it that way. But anyway, I think between you and me, I don't want to announce this too quickly, because we might need to put the pressure on if we need to. We are still prepared to do nonviolent direct action. We're going to get in Sunjeel's face. We're going to surround the building with bodies, and it's going to be moms. And you're going to have to, drive your truck through a line of people to construct that facility. That's what's coming. If we can't get any justice from the law, if the law fails us, we're going to take matters into our own hands and do nonviolent direct action against Sunjeel. That's what we are prepared to do, and we're getting trainers and everything All of this was in the works. So, but it looks to me, Reggie Parker thinks Sunjeel is DOA, dead on arrival. I don't want to, it's too early to announce it. I don't want to jinx it. It was like my buddy who used to be a DJ, and he used to do color commentary for sports. And he said, you never, ever, ever call it a no-hitter. I'm like, I never thought about that before. What do you mean you never call it a no-hitter? He goes, what happens if somebody gets a hit? You're wrong. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess that kind of makes sense. So we're not going to call it a victory just yet. But the indications are that Sunjeel is out of here. Sunjeel ain't coming back to Endicott. So stand by, you know, all you people in No Burn Broom, stand by, because we still might need to engage on this issue. But my feeling is we kicked their hiney. You did. You know, I started it out. You know, I want to get some credit for, you know, being out there and researching this thing for 6 months before the big group existed, No Burn Broom. I was out there on my own, like I always am. But with your help, I mean, more than the facts and the law on your side, you need to have a group of people fighting for whatever it is that you want. That's democracy. And that's what works over and over again. I've seen it. So God bless you, the people of Endicott, and all you people in No Burn Broom. I mean, we kicked their ass. We kicked Sunjeel's ass. Okay, so we got to do the same thing. I'm not against Verizon. Okay, I'm against when they come in and try to bully us and lie to us and tell us false statements. And really just try to bully us with their master license agreement. So for now, anyway, I can't believe it. You know, this is, you know, I don't want to take sole credit for this, but I want to take a huge amount of credit for this because I was by myself. I had no help from anybody backing me up on 5G. A couple of concerned citizens out there made some phone calls, and I really appreciate you, and I appreciate the support of a few people that really encouraged me. So I have a phone call coming up. I think I'm going to sign off for right now, and I'm going to call you back in a second. I don't think they're coming back to they're not coming back. You know, they're just going to come back, and they're going to close the meeting probably. So I'm going to sign off, friends. It was a great night. I appreciate all of you for, I appreciate all of you people out there for your support. Please donate. I need donations, you know, big time. tinyurl.com. There it is, coming across the screen right now. It's also in the show notes. tinyurl.com/donate to Bill Huston. I got to raise $2,500 super urgently, friends. I'm out there doing work that nobody else is doing. I would really appreciate donations if you appreciate the work that I do, because this was a victory tonight. This was a huge victory. And yes, you know, nobody's going to toot my own horn except for me. So this was my win. This is the kind of work that I've been doing for 10 years, been doing public safety advocacy and environmental work for the village of Endicott. So thanks, friends. I hope that you please donate if you can in any amount. I appreciate it. Please go to the Bill Huston podcast channel, subscribe on YouTube. We'll see you next time. Be sure to hit the like button, friends. Thumbs up this video and share it out, please. And don't forget to subscribe to the Bill Huston podcast on YouTube. Click on the bell and select all notifications. And please donate if you can to support my work. Donations in any amount are greatly appreciated.